Chapter 101, Mountain Turtle Tribe 3. No. Shanjia Chief, this is the scapula of a fierce beast, not an ordinary animal. To hunt this beast, our tribe lost several warriors. Jiang Xuan waved his hand repeatedly, performing very convincingly, as if the Vine tribe had indeed paid a heavy price for this item. In fact, this scapula was just one among many beast bones left by the old witch. The Vine tribe didn't expend much effort for it. Shanjia turned the scapula over and examined it, feeling it was indeed a good material and quite rare. He gritted his teeth and said, 4 strength mushrooms. How does Chief Xian feel about that? 6 strength mushrooms, Shanjia Chief. It wasn't easy for us to travel so far. No, 6 strength mushrooms are too many. Then 5, no less. Jiang Xuan was very firm. All right, 5 it is. Deal. Shanjia took the fierce beast scapula, while Jiang Xuan received 5 strength mushrooms. Both sides were quite satisfied with this trade. Then, the two engaged in another round of bargaining, completing several more transactions. The Mountain Turtle tribe obtained some beast teeth and beast bone, while the Vine tribe acquired several types of mushrooms that could enhance strength. Finally, Shanjia set his eyes on a gigantic beast horn, one of the few remaining, yet most valuable, items Jiang Xuan had brought. This was a unicorn's beast horn, as large as a bowl and nearly half a meter long. Very rare indeed. To the tribe people, beast horns were more commonly used materials than beast teeth. Because beast horns are generally larger, they are easier to polish into shape, suitable for crafting various tools or weapons. Moreover, many tribe people also like to use beast horns as ornaments. Ornaments made from rare beast horns represent great strength and often provoke envy and admiration when worn. Shanjia said, Chief Xian, for this beast horn, what do you want in trade? Jiang Xuan replied, This is the beast horn of a unicorn, and it's so perfect I definitely won't exchange it for ordinary mushrooms. Do you have any rare mushrooms you've gathered? Shanjia hesitated for a moment and said, We do have a kind of rare mushroom, just gathered, but there's very few of them. What kind of mushroom? Luminous mushroom. What does this mushroom do? Eating it allows a person to see clearly at night. After hearing Shanjia's words, Jiang Xuan was visibly stunned because he never expected to find such a good thing in the Mountain Turtle tribe. Where is this luminous mushroom? Can I see it? Shanjia said, Luminous mushrooms can't be exposed to light. Come with me. Jiang Xuan, feeling excited, followed Shanjia to see the luminous mushroom, curious to find out if it was as magical as Shanjia described. Soon, Jiang Xuan was led into a back room, which had no windows and the walls and ceiling had no gaps. Once the door was closed, it was completely dark. Chief Xian, look. Shanjia took out a beast hide bag from the corner of the room and opened its mouth. A faint green glow emitted from the beast hide bag, and Jiang Xuan saw the miraculous luminous mushroom with his own eyes. It was about the size of a palm, semi-transparent, very beautiful, almost not meant to be eaten. After showing it to Jiang Xuan, Shanjia quickly closed the beast hide bag, tied up its mouth, and led Jiang Xuan outside. Chief Xian, you saw it. There are only 3 luminous mushrooms in that beast hide bag. We gathered them with great difficulty. I can at most trade 1 luminous mushroom for your unicorn's beast horn. This time, Shanjia was very resolute, not giving Jiang Xuan room to bargain because the luminous mushroom was truly precious. If not for the unicorn's beast horn, he wouldn't have brought out the luminous mushroom for trade. Jiang Xuan weighed in his mind. If it was really as the Mountain Turtle tribe said, that eating this mushroom could gain night vision, then this trade would definitely not be a loss for him. Jiang Xuan confirmed again, by eating this mushroom, you can definitely see clearly at night? Shanjia replied, Of course. There won't be any other harmful effects from eating it? No. Many in our tribe have eaten luminous mushrooms. All right, I'll trade the unicorn's beast horn for 1 luminous mushroom. Jiang Xuan made a swift decision and completed the last trade with Shanjia, hoping this magical mushroom would give him night vision. Chapter 102, The Nighttime Great Swamp. After the trade was completed, Jiang Xuan immediately ate the luminous mushroom because Shanjia reminded him that the fresher the luminous mushroom, the better the effect when consumed. He first tried tearing off a small piece and putting it in his mouth without swallowing to see if there would be any toxic reactions or other abnormalities. It's always right to be a bit cautious. Although Jiang Xuan felt that all the items to be traded were done, and the mountain turtle tribe had no motive to poison him, he still habitually tested for poison. After a while, Jiang Xuan didn't find anything abnormal, and only then did he eat the whole luminous mushroom. Besides glowing, the luminous mushroom looked quite ordinary, but it tasted really good, giving Jiang Xuan the feeling of eating crab meat, very fresh, with a hint of sweetness. What a pity it's a bit too little. Jiang Xuan smacked his lips, feeling a bit unsatisfied. Although the taste was good, after eating the luminous mushroom, Jiang Xuan's body didn't exhibit any obvious changes, which made him a bit uneasy. Could the mountain turtle tribe be deceiving him? With this doubt, he consulted Shanjia. Shanjia chuckled. Xian leader, don't worry, you have to digest it first, right? You're right, I'm being too impatient. Jiang Xuan laughed awkwardly, noting that only potent medicine could produce immediate effects upon consumption. Due to the travel during the day and the transaction, it was already late, and since the vine tribe was unfamiliar with the Great Swamp, Jiang Xuan and his party decided to stay overnight at the mountain turtle tribe. The mountain turtle tribe was quite hospitable to their guests, and Shanjia gladly offered them lodging. Moreover, the mountain turtle tribe wasn't afraid of outsiders taking advantage because they had a living totem god. It was an old mountain turtle, as large as a small hill, whose exact age was unknown, having outlasted the totem gods of nearby tribes. If not for the presence of this old mountain turtle, the turtle tribe wouldn't be thriving so well. After nightfall, Jiang Xuan finally noticed his eyesight changing from usual. In the past, after nightfall, Jiang Xuan relied mainly on moonlight and firelight to see things clearly. But now it was different. He was surprised to find that without the aid of firelight or moonlight, he could see things in the dark. If someone were staring into his eyes at this moment, they would notice an extra layer of peculiar transparent membrane over them, and his pupils were much larger than during the day. The luminous mushroom really works. Jiang Xuan felt a little excited because gaining night vision was extremely important. It meant he now had the ability to operate at night. Jiang Xuan decided that he would try to negotiate for more luminous mushrooms with the mountain turtle tribe later, ideally enabling the warriors of the vine tribe to all acquire night vision. At night, Shanjia found Jiang Xuan again and asked with a smile, "Xian leader, how's the effect after eating the luminous mushroom?" Jiang Xuan praised, "It's truly a great thing. Of course, otherwise, how could I ask for a beast horn from a unicorn in exchange?" Shanjia added, "Xian leader, are you interested in joining us on a hunt in the Great Swamp tonight?" "Tonight? Yes, tonight. Wouldn't it be too dangerous?" Jiang Xuan hesitated a bit, as this was an unfamiliar environment, and nighttime was the most active time for various predators. Shanjia laughed. "Don't worry, we'll ride mountain turtles, and we're not going deep into the Great Swamp." Shanjia invited Jiang Xuan because he felt they got along well, considering Jiang Xuan a friend, without any ulterior motives. Jiang Xuan thought for a moment and said, "All right, it would be good to gain some insight, so I'll have to ask Leader Shanjia to look after me." Shanjia happily patted Jiang Xuan on the shoulder, saying, "Haha, no problem. Get ready. We'll set off shortly. Trust me, the Great Swamp at night won't disappoint you." After Shanjia left, Jiang Xuan informed Qi Xiao and the others about going out for a hunt. Qi Xiao seemed quite calm about it, and just said, "Stick close to Leader Shanjia." It's not that Qi Xiao didn't care about Jiang Xuan's safety. In fact, she was more concerned than anyone, but she had already sensed the presence of the mountain turtle tribe's totem god. As long as they didn't stray too far from the mountain turtle tribe, they wouldn't encounter significant danger. Gotung and the others wanted to go along, but they didn't have night vision, so going out at night was too dangerous, and they reluctantly gave up. Jiang Xuan took his weapons and some personal belongings, touched his spider silk clothing, and then boldly walked outside. At the mountain turtle tribe's gate, Shan Jia and the others were already prepared. When heading to the mushroom forest, Shan Jia brought over 100 warriors, but for this nighttime hunt, he only brought a little over 20. Besides the warriors, there were 5 gigantic mountain turtles, which are the real guarantee for the nighttime hunt. No one understood the Great Swamp or was as sensitive to danger as these mountain turtles. When Jiang Xuan arrived, Shan Jia called out, "Let's go." The group of over 20 people, along with 5 large mountain turtles, promptly departed the tribe, heading for the outside Great Swamp. The mountain turtle tribe was located on the edge of the Great Swamp, and after leaving the tribe, it wasn't long before they saw the shimmering Great Swamp under the moonlight. Shan Jia was the first to climb onto the back of the largest mountain turtle, and then said to Jiang Xuan, "Xuan leader, come up." Following instructions, Jiang Xuan climbed onto the back of the gigantic mountain turtle. The turtle shell on the back of the giant mountain turtle wasn't very even, with each section having some ridges, but because these mountain turtles were so large, sitting on them wasn't uncomfortable. Chapter 103, Night in the Great Swamp 2. Everyone else also climbed onto the backs of the 5 large mountain turtles, each turtle carrying 4 or 5 people. Splash! The 5 mountain turtles entered the water one after another, carrying the group into the mysterious Great Swamp. Jiang Xuan watched the mountain turtles swim freely in the water, feeling a bit surprised. He thought these mountain turtles lived on land and couldn't swim. In the Great Swamp, there were tall reeds and various aquatic plants. Many places looked like land, but were actually large patches of water plants floating on the water. If anyone steps on it, they could easily slip and fall into the water, swallowed by the Great Swamp. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Croak, croak. Various insects and frogs kept making noises, and occasionally they could hear some strange bird calls and beast roars. Jiang Xuan sat on the turtle's back, enjoying the night wind, using his night vision to look at the scenery around him, listening to all kinds of sounds, feeling very curious. Shan Jia proudly said, "Everyone who came out this time has eaten the luminous mushroom, so we don't need to light a torch for hunting." Jiang Xuan said, "These warriors are truly lucky. Ha! Being a warrior of the mountain turtle tribe really is a fortunate thing." Shan Jia looked at Jiang Xuan's spider silk clothing and couldn't help asking, "Chief Xuan, what exactly is this clothing? I've never seen anything like it." Jiang Xuan didn't hide anything. "It's spider silk clothing from the spider tribe. We traded from the Black Teeth tribe at a high price." "I see." Shan Jia nodded, apparently familiar with the Black Teeth tribe. "I still prefer wearing turtle shell. It's safe. This spider silk clothing is too thin." Shan Jia patted his own thick turtle shell, feeling very secure with it on. The two chatted softly as they looked for prey around them. The mountain turtle tribe also fished, as they had turtles acting as living boats, freely navigating the water. However, they only used spears and harpoon-like weapons to stab big fish from the water surface. They didn't set fishing traps, nor did they weave fishing nets. Before long, Shan Jia found a hunting target, a large water beast, feeding in a dense patch of water plants. Jiang Xuan observed from afar and noticed that the beast resembled an otter but had 2 tusks like a walrus, quite peculiar. Shan Jia signaled, and the other 4 mountain turtles swam to surround the patch of water plants from afar. Clearly, they had coordinated this action countless times before and were very synchronized. With no torches lit and riding on turtles, their concealment was excellent, so the water beast hadn't noticed them. In a low voice, Shan Jia said to Jiang Xuan, "We call these water beasts water wolves. They're fierce and cunning. If you're not careful, they'll escape. Their tusks are valuable, used to make tooth knives, and the oil from their stomachs is great for healing burns and scalds. Their fur is also excellent material for beast hide clothing, soft and warm. Everyone loves it." After listening, Jiang Xuan could only marvel at how the tribal people utilized every part of the prey. This water wolf is truly a treasure. If it were in Jiang Xuan's former world, they'd have been hunted to extinction quickly. But in this primordial world, human territories are not large, while animal numbers are vast. Moreover, tribal hunting follows its own rules. They never capture young or mother beasts with cubs, preventing depletion. Soon, 5 mountain turtles and 20 warriors silently surrounded the dense patch. Woo! Once everything was ready, Shan Jia stood up, emitting a strange howl, then decisively threw a short spear at the water wolf. The howl was a signal. Almost simultaneously, other mountain turtle tribe warriors hurled short spears at the water wolf, blocking all escape routes. Awoo! The water wolf let out a miserable cry, instantly struck by several short spears. It struggled to escape into the water, but the massive turtles had already reached the plants, making escape impossible. Before long, the water wolf became a trophy, carried by the turtle with Shan Jia and Jiang Xuan. Afterwards, they caught many strange swamp creatures: fish, giant frogs, water beasts, even snakes. They returned to the mountain turtle tribe with all the trophies by midnight. The harvest was plentiful this trip, opening Jiang Xuan's eyes to the great swamp's diversity. As a hunting companion, Jiang Xuan received a giant frog the size of a millstone. Shan Jia said its meat is delicious, a rare treat. After returning to the mountain turtle tribe, Jiang Xuan cleaned and roasted the frog, sharing it with members of the vine tribe. He tore off a frog leg, took a bite, and his eyes brightened. It's indeed tasty. The giant frog's meat was tender and had crunchy bones, a delightful texture. Qi Xiao and others praised the frog's meat quality, eager to hunt some themselves. Of course, it was just a thought. Without night vision in the turtles, swamp hunting at night was nearly impossible. The next day, the vine tribe prepared to return. Since both the chief and witch were absent, they couldn't stay away too long. Before parting, Shan Jia told Jiang Xuan, "Chief Xuan, next time you come, I'll take you hunting in the great swamp during the day. You'll love it." Chief Shan Jia, I'm looking forward to it. Jiang Xuan bear-hugged Shan Jia and said, "Chief Shan Jia, next time you're welcome to visit us at the Vine Tribe. I'll host you warmly." Shan Jia replied, "I'll definitely visit if there's a chance. We're leaving now. Until next time." Jiang Xuan waved and left with the Vine Tribe, carrying the mushrooms from their harvest. Watching Jiang Xuan walk away, Shan Jia sighed, "Chief Xuan is nice, but I wonder what the Vine Tribe is like if I'd ever get a chance to see it." In a time reliant on foot travel, distant tribes rarely interacted. Meeting again was unlikely. After Jiang Xuan and his group disappeared, the mountain turtle tribe gradually dispersed, busy with their lives, with little time for farewells. In the forest, Jiang Xuan and his group retraced their route, rested for a night, caught some prey along the way, and returned safely to the Vine Tribe by the next evening. When they left, the Vine Tribe people were anxious, fearing mishaps for the leader and witch, which would end their good days. Fortunately, both safely returned, reportedly with many good trades from the mountain turtle tribe. June 16th, the heat was intense, and insects were most active. At this time, the mosquito tribe's hunting team came near the Vine Tribe again. In the forest, Huawen led 100 hunters with a large group of bird-beaked mosquitoes. The 3 large pottery cauldrons taken from the Vine Tribe pleased the mosquito tribe's witch, earning Huawen great merit and more power. "Chief, we visited that small tribe twice already and missed them each time. Why keep going?" Huawen glared at the questioning warrior and said, "Why so much nonsense? If I say we're going, we go." The warrior clearly feared Huawen, shrinking back and not daring to question further. In truth, Huawen was merely unwilling to give up. If they missed again, he wouldn't return. The mosquito tribe's warriors swiftly moved through the forest, accompanied by a huge swarm of bird-beaked mosquitoes flying boldly, their buzzing heard from far away. As the mosquito tribe warriors appeared outside the Vine Tribe once more, they were surprised to find the people had actually returned. Chapter 104. The Great Battle Begins. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Above the Vine Tribe, a large swarm of bird-beaked mosquitoes approached, dark and ominous. The mosquito tribe is coming. The warriors responsible for guarding the tribe shouted, and the entire Vine Tribe was thrown into chaos. "Hurry back to the tribe. In the fields, Gonsong wielded a bone hoe and shouted loudly. The wanderers laboring quickly ran back, panic-stricken and stumbling. Those responsible for fishing, breeding, and doing various tasks all ran towards the bamboo houses. They knew that as long as they entered the bamboo houses, they could access the tunnels leading to the altar and seek protection from the vine god. In the bamboo houses, Jiang Xuan grabbed a bone spear and charged out. When he saw the bird-beaked mosquitoes in the sky, his expression changed dramatically. Damn mosquito tribe, they're persistently haunting us. Jiang Xuan immediately commanded everyone to retreat to the bamboo houses and enter the tunnels to hide. They've indeed returned. Elsewhere, Huan saw the people of the vine tribe returning, and he was thrilled, his eyes shimmering with cruel, bloodthirsty light. Huan brandished a bone knife and shouted, "Attack, all of you! Kill all the men and capture all the women!" Woo woo woo! Over 100 tribal warriors from the mosquito tribe uttered strange cries as they quickly ran towards the bamboo houses of the vine tribe. More than 30 wanderers ran back from the river, but they couldn't reach the bamboo houses in time. Seeing the warriors from the mosquito tribe nearing, their faces turned ashen. Leading these wanderers was Jiang Xuan, who was responsible for taking them to fish by the river. What should we do? If we go, we'll be killed. Should we escape instead? The wanderers dared not run further. They were quite far from the bamboo houses, and turning to escape seemed much easier than returning. Jiang Xuan resolutely said, "No way. If we flee now, we'll never be able to join the vine tribe." Jiang Xuan understood very well that almost all tribes despise cowards who abandon battles, for such people displayed no loyalty and were unreliable. "But we can't just go to our deaths, can we?" one wanderer questioned. Jiang Xuan furrowed his brow. Various thoughts flashed in his mind, and finally he looked towards the bamboo rafts by the river and said, "Retreat to the river and push the rafts into the water. If the mosquito tribe approaches, cross the river." The wanderers nodded, then turned to run toward the riverbank. However, Jiang Xuan stood firm with his Chimu Wolf Fang club and did not follow them. A wanderer familiar with Jiang Xuan turned to shout, "Hurry up!" Jiang Xuan shook his head, saying, "I'm a warrior. When the tribe needs me, I can't run. You all head to the river. I'm going to fight." Having said that, Jiang Xuan grasped his Wolf Fang club and charged toward the bamboo houses, eyes set with determination, without turning back. The wanderers bit their lips and eventually dared not follow Jiang Xuan. Jiang Xuan was a warrior, they were not. Charging forward meant death, so preserving their lives was crucial. Following Jiang Xuan's instructions, the wanderers pushed the bamboo rafts into the water, climbed aboard, and used bamboo poles to anchor them in the mud, waiting to see the situation at the vine tribe. If the mosquito tribe members advanced, they would cross the river without hesitation. Within the vine tribe, the fastest mosquito tribe warriors arrived near the bamboo houses, colliding with Jiang Xuan, who was assisting the tribe's people. Jiang Xuan was prepared to rush up and spear the warrior to death. Just then, accompanied by a whoosh, an arrow flew through the air and pierced the chest of the mosquito tribe warrior. The mosquito tribe warrior stared, stunned, at the arrow embedded in his chest, then collapsed heavily. Jiang Xuan turned to look and saw Shurqiu had already drawn a second arrow, lined it along the bowstring, his face slightly tense, but his hand steady. "Good shot." Jiang Xuan praised him, then used his bone spear to finish off the mosquito tribe warrior. Buzz, buzz, buzz. A large swarm of bird-beaked mosquitoes charged over, maliciously attacking Jiang Xuan and the others. "Kill these mosquitoes!" Jiang Xuan shouted fiercely, then swung his bone spear to thrash and stab, desperately slaughtering the bird-beaked mosquitoes. Go Tung, Nanxing, and some vine tribe warriors also joined the fray, battling a large swarm of bird-beaked mosquitoes and the subsequent mosquito tribe warriors. From the depths of the bamboo forest, Qi Shao heard the commotion and rushed out with his weapon, fighting alongside Jiang Xuan and others. Stay calm, stay calm. Don't panic overall. Beside the bamboo houses, Shurqiu forced himself into complete calmness, climbed rapidly onto a large tree to occupy an advantageous position, then knocked and drew his bow, aiming at the most threatening mosquito tribe warriors. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Xiao's shooting speed was swift, with each arrow causing injury among the mosquito tribe. His archery skills bordered on fearsome. Yet, the mosquito tribe's bird-beaked mosquitoes and warriors were numerous. Soon, several vine tribe warriors were injured. Without Xiao's divine archery support, some warriors might have perished. Vine God, save us! Qi Xiao, after slaying an oncoming bird-beaked mosquito with a slash, turned and screamed toward Stone Mountain. Without the intervention of the divine vine, they couldn't hold out with so few people. Soon, they would be slaughtered by the mosquito tribe, especially since Huawen had arrived, being a three-color warrior. If he joined the battle, no one could likely stop him. Buzz! On Stone Mountain, the divine vine erupted in intense green light, with fearsome vines floating up and rapidly growing. In fact, the divine vine wasn't unaware of the mosquito tribe's arrival, nor did it wait for cries for help before acting. After breakthrough, the divine vine faced tribulation by thunder, which it survived. It was weakened, remaining semi-sleeping to gradually recover. Now, sensing the vine tribe in crisis, it fully awoke. Snap, snap, snap. Dozens of green vines extended from Stone Mountain, wildly whipping the bird-beaked mosquitoes. Each vine acted like a whip, creating sonic booms. Each strike sent a bird-beaked mosquito flying or exploding, a terrifying scene that terrified the attacking mosquito tribe warriors. Wah! What is this? What is that? Huawen, who was charging forward, stopped abruptly upon witnessing this, his face pale as he looked at the massive ancient vine on Stone Mountain, and remarked, "The guardian god of the vine tribe is alive." He recalled how he had tried to chop the giant vine with a stone axe, and cold sweat broke out on his back. Unlike the shock at the mosquito tribe's side, the vine tribe warriors erupted in cheers upon witnessing the divine vine's intervention. "Vine God will protect us. Charge! Kill all these damned mosquitoes." A dozen warriors filled with fervor fearlessly charged toward the more numerous mosquito tribe. Jiang Xuan was among these warriors, covered in blood and wounded in several places, but he didn't care. He knew he had made the right choice. Swish, swish, swish. Simultaneously, innumerable roots quietly emerged from the ground. As the mosquito tribe warriors looked up at the vines in the air, the roots quietly wrapped around their feet and continued to entwine their bodies. When they realized something was wrong, it was too late to escape. "What is this, ah?" A mosquito tribe warrior let out a shrill scream, struggling madly but to no avail. For the roots had already penetrated his body, quickly extracting his flesh and blood essence. Soon, more screams echoed. Even the advancing Jiang Xuan and others halted, their scalps tingling with fear. Chapter 105. The Terrifying Divine Vine. Buzz! On top of Stone Mountain, the massive divine vine burst forth with an even stronger green light, and those mosquito tribe warriors were drained into skin and bones within a short time until death. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The green tendrils also extended longer, and a large flock of bird-beaked mosquitoes was either struck dead, entangled, or pierced to death, soon scattered in all directions. Bird-beaked mosquitoes aren't ordinary mosquitoes. They possess a certain level of intelligence and know how to seek advantage and avoid harm. The surviving bird-beaked mosquitoes fled frantically, flying at such speed that they could cover a great distance in the blink of an eye. The tendrils of the divine vine weren't merciful either. Most of the bird-beaked mosquitoes were killed by the chasing tendrils. Only a small number at the edges escaped hastily. With the bird-beaked mosquitoes gone, the already frightened mosquito tribe warriors were even more desperate to flee. But their escape speed was far inferior to that of the bird-beaked mosquitoes. The roots of the divine vine occasionally emerged from the ground, and every time they entangled a mosquito tribe warrior, they would drain them dry with no chance of escape. The hunting team leader, Huawen, was the fastest runner. He was a three-color warrior and hadn't rushed to the front. When he realized the divine vine had come alive, he immediately abandoned everyone and ran away. As a three-color warrior, he had experienced countless battles, but never had he felt such fear as he did now. Because he was facing a living, tribal totem god, how could he fight? Huan had only one thought now, which was to leave here immediately and never return. He even began to regret why he insisted on visiting the Vine tribe once more. If he hadn't come, nothing would have happened. Unfortunately, it was too late for regrets now. Whoosh! While Huan was running, the soil ahead suddenly broke open, and a thick root emerged, then wrapped around his waist like lightning. Get off! Huan frantically swung his bone knife to chop at the root, but with his terrifying strength as a three-color warrior, he couldn't even make a dent. The difference was just too great. Amid screams, Huan was gradually entangled and enveloped in the roots until even his face was unseen, and screams turned into whimpers. Finally, there was silence. Moments later, the roots retreated underground. Huan's beast-hide clothing slipped off. The bone knife fell to the ground, leaving only a skeleton behind. All the invading mosquito tribe warriors were either killed by Jiang Xuan and others or entangled by the roots of the divine vine, with none escaping. They all died here. Even their corpses were quietly entwined by the roots of the divine vine and absorbed of all flesh and blood, leaving only a pile of white bones. After the battle ended, Jiang Xuan looked at the ground covered in white bones and finally breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the Vine tribe had the divine vine to protect them. Otherwise, it would be them lying dead now. The wanderers hiding in the pit came out, and those by the river returned, all relieved to have escaped a calamity. Jiang Xuan first had people carry the seriously injured warriors back for Qi Shao to treat, while the lightly injured applied medicine themselves. Then, Jiang Xuan had the wanderers collect the spoils of war. Collect all these beast-hide clothing, beast-hide bags, and weapons. The wanderers busied themselves, and, as they looked at the white bones, they grew even more in awe of the terrifying divine vine. The supplies and weapons left by over 100 warriors were quite substantial and were a significant fortune for the Vine tribe. Jiang Xuan picked up Huan's bone knife and unexpectedly found that it was polished from a single piece, not knowing what beast bone was used, but its blade was sharp. Good stuff. Jiang Xuan unceremoniously picked up the bone knife and hung it on his beast-hide belt. Leader, what should we do with these bones? After collecting the spoils, a wanderer respectfully asked Jiang Xuan. Jiang Xuan said, "Pile the skulls at the most prominent spot on Thunder Mountain and bury the rest of the bones." All right. The wanderers immediately did as told, moving over 100 skulls to the south of the Vine tribe's territory on Thunder Mountain, piling them into a small hill at the most prominent spot. As for the rest of the bones, they dug multiple pits and buried them all. The purpose of creating such a terrifying pile of skulls wasn't out of Jiang Xuan's cruelty, but to warn other tribes entering the Vine tribe territory that the Vine tribe was not to be trifled with. It was a helpless move because, currently, the Vine tribe was rather weak and could only rely on such methods to intimidate other tribes. If the Vine tribe were strong enough, they wouldn't need to use such methods. Truly powerful tribes, even if they did nothing, held enough deterrent power. After cleaning the battlefield, Jiang Xuan, dragging his weary body, returned to the bamboo hut. He had quite a bit of bloodstains on him, but only had some bruises without any skin being broken due to wearing a precious spider silk clothing. This spider silk clothing proved to be a treasure. Its strength was extremely high. Neither the stone knife nor the stone spear could pierce it, at best leaving some bruises. Jiang Xuan took off the spider silk clothing, washed it clean of bloodstains with water, and hung it to dry. Spider silk clothing barely absorbs water, dries easily, and after a short time in the sun, he could wear it again. Through this battle, Jiang Xuan truly appreciated the benefits of the spider silk clothing and understood why the old which said it could save lives at critical moments before leaving. Jiang Xuan suddenly remembered the spider tribe that produced the spider silk clothing. If everyone in that tribe could wear spider silk clothing, they would have a significant advantage during battles with other tribes. That tribe must be quite powerful, right? Jiang Xuan decided that he would visit the spider tribe himself if he ever got the chance. Hopefully, he could trade for a batch of spider silk clothing. After all, the Black Teeth tribe was too exploitative, and buying anything from them was a loss. Jiang Xuan took some herbs to promote blood circulation and disperse bruises, then went into the bamboo grove to check on the seriously injured. During the battle, these warriors were very brave, with none being cowards. In the bamboo yard, the seriously injured lay on bamboo beds, receiving treatment from Qi Shao. Their injuries were severe, with some wounds potentially life-threatening. When Jiang Xuan arrived, he saw Qi Shao praying with ancient witchcraft facing Stone Mountain. Soon, a few tender tendrils reached towards the seriously injured, giving each of them a drop of green liquid. Once the liquid fell into the wounds, a miraculous scene occurred. The fearsome wounds glowed faintly with green light, and the flesh wriggled rapidly. Before long, they unexpectedly healed. Jiang Xuan looked up at the divine vine and sighed inwardly. This was a wondrous world. Without the divine vine, the warriors with such severe injuries could only rely on luck for survival. But now, their fatal wounds healed in a short time, a true divine miracle. The warriors were very excited as well. They struggled to get up from the bamboo beds, bowing in gratitude towards the divine vine, their faith growing even stronger. Chapter 106, Accepting Everything. On top of Stone Mountain, after absorbing the blood and flesh essence of over 100 warriors from the Mosquito tribe, the divine vine became even more lush and vibrant, and its aura grew even more terrifying. It was the height of summer, and all the plants were growing wildly. The divine vine was no exception. This was its pinnacle state of the year. Buzz! The entire body of the divine vine burst into a green light, a terrifying aura pervading the air, a dreadful pressure felt by all creatures within the vine tribe's territory. In the bamboo house, Qi Shao seemed to have heard something. She closed her eyes and listened carefully. After a moment, she said to Jiang Xuan, "The vine god says that the tribe will hold a great ritual in 3 days, and by then, the vine god will descend divine dew, allowing all participants to become true warriors. As for who will participate in the ritual, the vine god leaves the choice to you." Jiang Xuan was astonished and said, "Everyone can become warriors?" Qi Shao nodded, giving him a definite answer. Jiang Xuan was thrilled, as everyone participating in the ritual becoming a warrior meant a significant boost in the vine tribe's strength. Jiang Xuan turned and shouted to the warriors outside the door, "Pass the order! Have all warriors gather in my bamboo house." "Yes." At Jiang Xuan's command, all 10 or so warriors of the vine tribe, regardless of what they were doing, rushed to Jiang Xuan's bamboo house. "Sister, you come with me too." "All right." Qi Shao gathered her things, preparing to follow Jiang Xuan. Jiang Xuan then looked at the 3 severely injured warriors still lying on the bamboo bed and asked, "Can you walk now?" One of the warriors tried to sit up and found that, after absorbing the divine vine's sap, his wounds were no longer a major issue. The warrior slowly stood up and said, "Chief, I can walk." The other 2 warriors also stood up, indicating they could follow. "Good, come with me all." Jiang Xuan led everyone through the bamboo forest and into his bamboo house. Including Jiang Xuan and Qi Shao, all 17 warriors of the vine tribe were present. Jiang Xuan solemnly took out 4 beast hide bags, which were filled with magic mushrooms traded from the mountain turtle tribe. These mushrooms were different from ordinary ones, as they could be stored for some time, even without drying. Jiang Xuan initially planned to use these mushrooms as incentive prizes to reward warriors who contributed to the tribe. But now, Jiang Xuan changed his mind. He wanted to distribute all the magic mushrooms for the current warriors to quickly enhance their abilities. Jiang Xuan opened the 4 beast hide bags, and a refreshing mushroom aroma instantly filled the air. "These are the magic mushrooms we traded from the mountain turtle tribe. Here are strength mushrooms to enhance strength, swift mushrooms to enhance speed, large ear mushrooms to enhance hearing, and eagle eye mushrooms to enhance vision. Now, each of you can choose 2 magic mushrooms to enhance your abilities. You can choose to compensate for your weaknesses or strengthen your greatest strengths. It's up to you. Which you first? Jiang Xuan looked at Qi Xiao. Qi Xiao didn't hesitate. She stepped forward and chose a large ear mushroom and an eagle-eye mushroom to enhance her hearing and vision. As a witch, these two abilities were still very important. Jiang Xuan himself chose 2 swift mushrooms, as his strength was already sufficient, and he needed to increase his speed now. Gotung hesitated for a moment and finally chose a strength mushroom and a swift mushroom. Shiqiu unhesitatingly chose 2 eagle-eye mushrooms, as superior vision is a significant advantage for an archer. Nanxing scratched his head, and for some reason chose 2 large ear mushrooms. Other warriors also came forward to choose their own magic mushrooms. After they finished choosing, there was still 1 strength mushroom left in the beast hide bag. Jiang Xuan thought for a moment and said, Nanxing, go call Jing Jie over. Yes, chief. Nanxing hurriedly left and soon returned with Jing Jie. Jing Jie still had many bloodstains and wounds on his body. He had fought desperately in this battle, wielding a wolf-tooth stick at the forefront, leaving a deep impression on everyone. Jiang Xuan looked at the scarred Jing Jie, picked up the last strength mushroom, and handed it to him, saying, Jing Jie, you fought bravely in this battle, and the Vine tribe never shortchanges anyone who contributes to the tribe. This strength mushroom is your reward for your valiant fight. Take it. Jing Jie's hand trembled slightly. A sense of being recognized stirred his heart. He had waited too long for this moment. Jing Jie accepted the strength mushroom, repeatedly saying, Thank you, chief. Thank you, chief. Jiang Xuan replied with a smile. You deserve it. This strength mushroom will increase your strength and help you become a 2-color warrior sooner. Upon hearing the words, 2-color warrior, a longing gleam appeared in Jing Jie's eyes, and he held the strength mushroom even tighter. After pondering for a moment, Jiang Xuan added, This time the tribe faced a crisis. You and those over 100 wanderers you brought along didn't flee, so I've decided that you all will participate in the great ritual in 3 days. I can participate in the ritual? Jing Jie asked in disbelief. That's right. I've seen all your efforts over the past 6 months, and I've decided to allow you to become true members of the Vine tribe early. That's great, that's great. Jing Jie was filled with joyful tears and a series of surprises. He felt a blissful dizziness. In fact, the reason Jiang Xuan accepted all the wanderers early, aside from their performance, was also related to the words of the Vine God. All participants of the ritual becoming warriors. What a rare opportunity. Accepting these wanderers would let the Vine tribe grow from a dozen warriors immediately to over 100. Such a good opportunity. How could Jiang Xuan miss it? The Vine tribe was in need of warriors. With over 100 warriors, he would dare to recruit more wanderers and expand the Vine tribe faster. All right, everyone, go back and make preparations. Don't save these magic mushrooms. Consume them all. Tomorrow, we enter the mountain to look for offering items, and in 3 days, we will hold the great ritual. With that, everyone dispersed to consume the magic mushrooms and prepare for the mountain hunt the next day. As Jing Jie walked along the path, clutching the hard-earned strength mushroom, his tears nearly fell. Since losing his tribe, he had wandered like a lone wolf that had left its pack, enduring hardships and struggling to survive. When he came to the Vine tribe unexpectedly, he felt a long-lost sense of security. Because of this, he tried desperately to prove himself, wanting to join this tribe. Now, he had finally succeeded. This joy was beyond words. As he walked slowly, Jing Jie savored this joy. Once back at the bamboo house, Jing Jie announced the good news to all the wanderers that they would soon become members of the Vine tribe, and showed everyone the strength mushroom the tribe rewarded him. The wanderers instantly erupted. We finally have a tribe. We won't be wanderers anymore. We have a home. Some wanderers shouted loudly, some wept with emotion, and some envisioned their future. At this moment, a thing called hope rejuvenated their weary hearts and bodies with newfound strength. Chapter 107, Great High Priest, Full Team Breakthrough. That night, all the warriors of the Vine tribe consumed the magic mushrooms, enhancing their strength, speed, vision, and hearing. Everyone gained significantly. The next day, Jiang Xuan led the hunting team into the mountains to search for offerings for the ritual. Meanwhile, Jiang Jie took people to fish by the river, hoping to catch some big fish for the ritual. The entire Vine tribe was busily preparing for the great high priest ceremony. Far away at the edge of the great swamp, the mosquito tribe was once again shaken by the few bedraggled bird-beaked mosquitoes that returned. The mosquito tribe, which learned through the bird-beaked mosquitoes about the deaths of Hua Wan and others in the Vine tribe. The bird-beaked mosquitoes were not intelligent and provided scattered information. Small tribe, battle, terrifying vine, everyone died. From these fragmented pieces of information, the mosquito tribe, which concluded that small tribe has returned, and the terrifying vine killed all members of the mosquito tribe's hunting team. Hua Wan had previously reported in detail about the Vine tribe, including the enormous vine. No one expected that the vine was alive and so powerful. It seems that the first hunting team to reach the Vine tribe was likely killed by that giant vine, although there was also a giant dragonfly at the time, and no one knew the specifics, and subsequent investigations were not clear. The mosquito tribe, which felt heartache over the deaths of numerous bird-beaked mosquitoes and over 100 warriors. What should we do now? The mosquito tribe leader felt a mix of emotions: anger, murderous intent, and an indescribable fear. Over 100 warriors died inexplicably in that small tribe, with none returning except for a few bird-beaked mosquitoes. The mosquito tribe, which stared at the flickering flames in the fire pit with an uncertain expression, unable to decide. For revenge, considering the current situation, the entire tribe would need to strike, and it might not be possible to capture that small tribe in one go. Even if they did, the losses would be severe. But without revenge, the deaths of so many people would chill the hearts of the mosquito tribe members, and the tribe would seem weak, inviting bullying from other tribes. The mosquito tribe, which was in a dilemma, troubled by the matter. Helplessly, the mosquito tribe, which could only say perfunctorily, "You first send someone to carefully investigate what happened." Yes, the mosquito tribe leader went out. Actually, he didn't want to send anyone else in this situation, but he had no choice and had to explain to the tribe members. While the mosquito tribe hesitated, the Vine tribe, after 2 days of effort, prepared plentiful offerings for the great high priest ceremony. The offerings included large hunted animals, fish, cultivated vegetables, early ripening wild fruits, and animals from the breeding area. On June 19th, in the morning, the Vine tribe's great high priest ceremony officially began. The rising sun shone on the stone mountain divine vine, and the dew on the leaves rolled with the breeze, sparkling with 7-colored light. On the altar, 3 large cauldrons were filled with various vegetarian offerings, while the meat offerings were placed at the center of the altar. The Vine tribe members and the wanderers who were about to join stood solemnly in front of the altar, freshly cleaned, wearing their best and cleanest clothes. As the sun rose higher, the divine vine bathed in sunlight, awakening from its nocturnal slumber, its whole body beginning to glow green as the terrifying vines danced in the air. To the right of the altar, Jiang Xuan shouted, "The ritual ceremony begins now." Qi Shao stepped onto the altar, facing the stone mountain divine vine, opened her arms, and began chanting the ancient god-summoning spell. The spell had a peculiar rhythm, causing listeners' emotions to fluctuate unconsciously, becoming gradually blood-boiling. Buzz! As she chanted, the divine vine on the stone mountain emitted an even more terrifying light, its aura becoming increasingly overwhelming. After reciting the god-summoning spell, Qi Shao bowed to the divine vine. "Please take the offerings, vine god." As Qi Shao's voice fell, countless root tendrils emerged from the ground, rapidly extending over the altar, covering and wrapping the offerings. Watching these dense tendrils, Jiang Xuan couldn't help but twitch his eyelids, having personally witnessed their fearsome nature. Before long, the tendrils retreated, leaving only some remnants in the 3 large cauldrons on the altar and the meat offerings at the center reduced to white bones. The vines on the stone mountain swayed more wildly, clearly indicating the divine vine's satisfaction with the offerings. After the divine vine finished consuming all the offerings, Qi Shao bowed again and began reciting the blessing spell. This time, everyone in front of the altar bowed, feeling tense yet excited, knowing the climax of the ritual was about to arrive. On the stone mountain, countless small vines extended forward, stopping above everyone's heads, then continuously twisting. Rustle. Unlike previous ceremonies, this time, large quantities of liquid fell as if it were raining. The liquid dripped onto everyone's heads and bodies, quickly integrating into their bodies. In an instant, everyone felt a grand power flow into them, hearts pounding, muscles growing stronger, senses sharper, even their blood boiling. Gotong and Shi Qiu immediately became 3-color warriors, while Nanxing became a 2-color warrior. Gonsong and others also advanced from 1-color warrior to 2-color warriors. Other wanderers gradually broke through to become 1-color warriors. Jingjia also advanced from 1-color warrior to 2-color warrior, to his surprise and delight. These days, he had been receiving too many surprises, feeling dizzy. Qi Shao and Jiang Xuan's breakthroughs were somewhat different from those of other warriors. At this moment, a single vine extended above Qi Shao, dripping purple liquid, rapidly enhancing the witch power within her. Qi Shao's gaze became even more captivating, her aura more ethereal, standing there silently, commanding awe without uttering a word. A thick vine also extended over Jiang Xuan's head, continuously dripping emerald green liquid, causing his strength to rise rapidly. Initially at the peak of 2-color warrior Jiang Xuan, after continuous infusions of power from the divine vine, directly advanced 2 levels. 4-color warrior. After the vine retracted, a gleam flashed in Jiang Xuan's eyes as he picked up a palm-sized stone from the ground, gently squeezing it until it shattered. The part crushed by his fingers turned to stone powder. Jiang Xuan had become a formidable 4-color warrior, no weaker than leaders of other small tribes. If he encountered Huawen again, he could directly crush them. With this, aside from the newborn infants in the Vine tribe, all 135 people became warriors. There was not a single ordinary person in the entire tribe, truly a miracle that would be hard to believe had it not been witnessed firsthand. Actually, this was related to the powerful strength of the divine vine, because after its breakthrough, its strength was equivalent to the totem god of a medium-sized tribe. A medium-sized tribe has at least 3,000 members, widespread territory, and a large population. But the Vine tribe? There were only over 100 people, mismatching the strength of the divine vine, making it easy for all of them to become warriors. It is anticipated that the Vine tribe will develop even more rapidly until its size matches the divine vine's strength, after which the growth rate will slow down. Chapter 108. Dragonflies take off, attack mosquito tribe. After the great high priest ceremony, the Vine tribe suddenly had 135 warriors, giving Jiang Xuan a feeling of suddenly becoming a millionaire. Since crossing over, I've never been so wealthy. With more people, we can no longer manage everything in a chaotic manner like before, with Jiang Xuan handling everything big and small. Therefore, Jiang Xuan decided to divide these warriors into multiple teams, with a designated leader for each team, and these leaders would follow Jiang Xuan's orders. This way, Jiang Xuan's burden would be lighter, and task efficiency would improve significantly. Jiang Xuan discussed with Qi Shao and then gathered everyone onto the open ground in front of the bamboo grove. Today, gathering you all is to announce a decision. Please listen carefully. After discussions, the witch and I have decided to form 6 teams within the tribe and select 6 leaders. These teams will be 2 hunting teams, a guard team, a fishing team, a breeding team, and a planning team. The leader of the hunting team 1 will be Gotong. I assign you 35 warriors. Thank you, leader. Gotong was very excited. He never dared to even dream of becoming the leader of the hunting team and managing 35 warriors. Jiang Xuan looked at Gotong seriously and said, "As a leader, The lives of the hunters are now in your hands. You must be cautious and careful in everything. If something goes wrong, I will hold you responsible." Jiang Xuan's words cooled Gotang's excitement immediately, feeling a heavy pressure. "Rest assured, leader, I will strive to lead the hunting team well." Jiang Xuan nodded and announced the next appointment. "The leader of hunting team 2 will be Shi, and I assign you 35 warriors as well." "Thank you, leader." As the tribe's divine archer, Shi was much more stable than Gotang. Upon hearing the appointment, his expression didn't change much, but his heart was still excited. Jiang Xuan said, "Shi, the lives of 35 warriors are given to you. I repeat, be cautious and careful in everything. Absolutely no mishaps." Shi solemnly nodded and said, "Leader, I understand." Jiang Xuan felt relatively assured with Shi, given his stable personality, and thus said no more. "The leader of the guard team will be Nanxing. I assign you 21 warriors." "Thank you, leader." Though having only 21 warriors, Nanxing was still thrilled as he was just 12 years old. "The leader of the fishing team will be Jiang. I assign you 30 warriors." "Me?" Upon hearing Jiang Xuan's words, Jiang couldn't believe his ears because he had just joined the Vine tribe not long ago. "Yes, your strength and bravery have been recognized by everyone. Your loyalty has been proven in battle, and during this period, you have been leading everyone to fish." Jiang Xuan patted Jiang's shoulder and said, "I've said before, the Vine tribe will reward anyone loyal and capable. From today onwards, you will be the leader of the fishing team." Aye. "Thank you, leader. I will definitely lead the fishing team well and catch more fish for the tribe." Jiang's eyes reddened. The feeling of being recognized was rare indeed. To meet a leader like Jiang Xuan is indeed a fortunate thing. Then, Jiang Xuan continued to announce, "The leader of the breeding team will be Jiao. I assign you 6 warriors." "Thank you, leader." "The leader of the planting team will be Song. I assign you 6 warriors as well." "Thank you, leader." Both Jiao and Song were more mature and liked doing practical stuff, not talking much, thus didn't seem particularly excited or thrilled. After choosing the leaders, Jiang Xuan faced all the warriors and said, "The selection of leaders is only temporary. The Vine tribe does not care about origins, only capabilities and loyalty to the tribe. If these few leaders don't perform well later, or if there is someone among you who is even more capable and suitable to be a leader, you will also have the opportunity to become a leader." Jiang Xuan's words brightened the eyes of the warriors because they knew this meant that with great capabilities, anyone could have a chance to be a leader. Many started to prepare secretly, seeking an opportunity to prove themselves. And the 6 newly appointed leaders also felt the pressure, prompting them to continuously improve, otherwise they might be replaced someday. Next, Jiang Xuan allowed all warriors to choose the team they preferred and join it. For teams with too many applicants, Jiang Xuan will distribute the extra people to teams with fewer members until all teams are finalized. Thus, the 6 teams were officially formed and would henceforth perform their duties, working together for the rise of the Vine tribe. In the future, if the Vine tribe continues to grow, more teams will be formed according to the tribe's needs. Once everything was over, the crowd dispersed, and Jiang Xuan escorted Qi Shao back to the courtyard in the bamboo grove. Jiang Xuan walked in the bamboo grove with a complex mood, both relieved and a bit apprehensive. Relieved because he won't be so tired managing a lot of things in the future, apprehensive because he's unsure how the leaders will handle their teams. Qi Shao noticed Jiang Xuan's expression. She softly said, "Xuan, since you have chosen them, you should trust them." Chapter 109. Dragonflies take off, attack Mosquito Tribe 2. Jiang Xuan chuckled wryly. "I understand the reasoning, but I still can't fully relax in such a short time. Always worried they'll mess something up." Qi Shao replied, "People always need to grow, even if they make some mistakes. As long as the consequences aren't serious and they correct them in time, we should continue to trust them." Jiang Xuan nodded. "You're right, sis." The two walked into the depths of the bamboo grove, where Jiang Xuan helped Qi Xiao expand the herb garden, adjusting his mood through work. Qi Xiao continued learning witch doctor skills from the bee skin scrolls left by the old witch. After the great high priest ceremony, each team in the Vine tribe performed its duties. The 6 leaders also worked hard to adapt to their roles, continuously accumulating management experience through practice. During this period, spies from the Mosquito tribe came several times, but they were frightened away by the pile of skulls at Thunder Mountain, not daring to approach the Vine tribe. A month quickly passed. July 20th. The divine vine's divine power, consumed during the great high priest ceremony, had fully recovered, and it had even progressed significantly. It contacted Qi Xiao again, making a surprising decision. In 5 days, the vine god will personally go to the Mosquito tribe. When Qi Xiao conveyed this to Jiang Xuan, he was shocked, wondering if the divine vine had gone mad. The Vine tribe had indeed gained over 100 warriors, but they hadn't yet had the chance to train, and their combat power wasn't strong. Was the divine vine planning to personally wipe out the Mosquito tribe? This wasn't impossible. After all, the divine vine was so powerful that if it went there personally, the entire Mosquito tribe probably couldn't resist. Who knew if the Mosquito tribe had a living totem god or some powerful preparations? In any case, since the divine vine decided to go to the Mosquito tribe, Jiang Xuan couldn't truly let it go alone, as it was the totem god of the Vine tribe. Even if Jiang Xuan didn't take the lead, he at least had a cheer on the sidelines for the divine vine. That night, Jiang Xuan gathered all the warriors to announce the attack on the Mosquito tribe in 5 days. Like Jiang Xuan, they found the news unbelievable, but when they heard that the vine god would personally go, they all became excited. Jiang Xuan said, in the next few days, besides hunting for necessary food, try to prepare as many weapons as possible to follow the vine god in attacking the Mosquito tribe. Let me remind you, the Mosquito tribe is extremely brutal, so do not think lightly of them, or it may cost you your lives. All right, go and prepare. Everyone dispersed, and that night, many people began sharpening spearheads and arrowheads, preparing for battle. The next morning, Jiang Xuan had just gotten up when he heard a commotion outside, with quite a few people involved. What's happening? Jiang Xuan rushed out of the bamboo house, not even properly dressed. Chief, look. A warrior outside the bamboo house pointed at the sky, looking very excited. Jiang Xuan looked up to see dozens of thick vines glowing green, stretching from Stone Mountain all the way to the Feiyu River, forming a giant vine bridge. What's going on? Despite living there for so long, Jiang Xuan had never seen anything like it and was momentarily puzzled. More members of the Vine tribe came out from the houses, all looking up at this rare and magical sight. At some point, Qi Xiao arrived beside Jiang Xuan, gazing at the sky, and said, "The vine god is guiding the larvae of the giant dragonflies." Guiding the larvae? Jiang Xuan seemed to understand a bit, but didn't fully grasp it. Yes, the vine god told me that a batch of giant dragonfly larvae have been living in the water for a long time and are about to transform into real giant dragonflies. These giant dragonflies can help us fight. After listening to Qi Xiao's words, Jiang Xuan finally understood why the divine vine chose this time to attack the Vine tribe. It intended to use this batch of giant dragonflies. If that's the case, Jiang Xuan fully comprehended the divine vine's choice. Relying on the Vine tribe's people to grow strong enough to seek revenge on the Mosquito tribe would take too long. But these giant dragonflies were a terrifying force. A single giant dragonfly could chase a flock of bird-beaked mosquitoes. Imagine what a swarm of giant dragonflies could do. If there were dozens, even hundreds of giant dragonflies, coupled with the divine vine itself, not just the Mosquito tribe, but even stronger tribes would find it hard to resist. With this in mind, Jiang Xuan looked expectantly at the gigantic vine bridge in the sky, eager to see how many giant dragonflies would emerge. Crash! From the Feiyu River, the first giant water scorpion emerged, its body over 3 meters long, quite astonishing. The giant water scorpion swam to the surface and, without hesitation, crawled up the vast vine bridge. Then, one after another, giant water scorpions swam toward the bridge from all over the Feiyu River, seemingly attracted, climbing onto the vine bridge. 1, 2, 3, 13, 14, 36. In front of the bamboo house, Jiang Xuan counted each giant water scorpion climbing the vine bridge, eventually totaling 36. If all these water scorpions successfully transformed, there would be 36 giant dragonflies, an enormous and terrifying force. No more water scorpions were ascending the vine bridge from the Feiyu River, indicating this was the entire batch ready to transform. The divine vine gradually withdrew the vine bridge, eventually wrapping the vines back around Stone Mountain. The 36 giant water scorpions clung tightly to the massive vine, enveloped in gentle green light, as if providing some protection. Gradually, the water scorpions came to a complete stop, entering a mystical state. For the next 3 days, the water scorpions remained motionless, the divine vine continuously emitting light, protecting them while some green light seeped into the giant water scorpions' bodies. Jiang Xuan speculated that the previous giant dragonfly might have transformed in this way, which is why it remained on Stone Mountain until death. Every day, Jiang Xuan observed the water scorpions, noting their color deepening from dark green to brown, then to dark brown, resembling a shell. On the third morning, Jiang Xuan observed the giant water scorpions as usual. Suddenly, the back of one giant water scorpion slowly cracked open, and a pair of translucent wings emerged, initially crumpled and then gradually spread out. The crack widened, and a giant dragonfly with black and green stripes struggled out of its shell. When it finally broke free, the giant dragonfly spread its wings, flapping them experimentally to soar into the air. Whoosh! A giant dragonfly with a 6-meter wingspan and over 4 meters in length circled Stone Mountain, generating gusts of wind. The transformation succeeded. On the ground, Jiang Xuan was thrilled, having personally witnessed the giant dragonfly's transformation process. These giant dragonflies would be valuable allies against the bird-beaked mosquitoes. The appearance of this giant dragonfly captured the attention of everyone in the vine tribe. Like Jiang Xuan, they all looked up at the sky in excitement. Crack, crack, crack. More giant dragonflies followed, breaking free from their old shells, spreading their massive wings, and soaring above Stone Mountain. When all 36 giant dragonflies completed their transformations, the entire Stone Mountain was teeming with them, creating a spectacular scene. 36. All 36 have successfully transformed. On the ground, Jiang Xuan looked at the giant dragonflies flying continuously, so excited he almost jumped for joy. This was an incredibly powerful aerial force and belonged to the vine tribe. Because Jiang Xuan noticed these newly transformed giant dragonflies were different from the previous one. These giant dragonflies had distinctive vine tribe totem patterns on their foreheads. Though Jiang Xuan didn't know how the divine vine accomplished this, he realized the dream of riding a giant dragonfly might soon become a reality. And the successful transformation of these giant dragonflies also meant the trumpet for attacking the mosquito tribe was sounding. The war between the vine tribe and the mosquito tribe was about to begin. The patterns on the giant dragonflies' abdomens were like two ancient characters. Monthly Ticket. Chapter 110. The divine vine descends upon the mosquito tribe. Southern wilderness, great swamp mosquito tribe. In several damp enclosures, over 200 people are held captive. Their eyes are sunken, skeletal in appearance, so thin they've lost their human semblance. These 200 people come from a few small tribes that were destroyed. They're not slaves, but rather exist like livestock and food. During the day, they're driven outside for half a day to eat wild vegetables, weeds, and insects. The rest of the time, including at night, they are locked in the small enclosures, anxiously awaiting death. Buzz, buzz, buzz. A bird-beaked mosquito flies in from afar, enters the enclosure, and lands on a young man's arm, its hummingbird-like tubular beak piercing the young man's arm to suck blood. The young man shows a face filled with fear and pain, but doesn't dare struggle, because if he dares to move against the bird-beaked mosquito, the tribal warriors outside guarding the enclosure will immediately kill him. After the bird-beaked mosquito has sucked a large quantity of blood, it flies away contentedly. The young man's face becomes extremely pale, he collapses to the ground, and before long he passes out, clearly having lost too much blood. Take him away. The mosquito tribe warriors outside the enclosure enter and roughly drag the young man away. The eyes of those in the enclosure are filled with horror, because they know this young man surely will not survive, but will be eaten by the mosquito tribe. These enclosures have held 500 to 600 people, but now only 200 remain, most meeting the same fate. The mosquito tribe, a brutal cannibal tribe. When night falls, the mosquito tribe warriors go to eat, and only then do those in the enclosure dare to slightly release their emotions. A low sob is heard, followed by more suppressed sobs. Crying is contagious, especially when everyone is already broken down. However, among the crowd, there is a thin girl who does not cry. She does not collapse like the others. Her gaze is very determined. This girl is about 16 or 17 years old. She sits with her knees hugged in the center of the enclosure, mumbling quietly to herself over and over, "Live, you must live on," though she knows the chance of survival is slim. Though she knows the chance to escape is even slimmer. But as long as she lives for one more day, she will never give up hope of staying alive. This is her obsession. Before long, the mosquito tribe warriors return from eating. Hearing the cries, they immediately curse. "Why are you crying? Do you want to die?" The people in the enclosure immediately fall silent. Many cover their mouths, afraid that making noise will get them killed. Southern Wilderness, Vine Tribe. Everyone check your weapons, provisions, and herbs. None can be missing. On the empty ground before the altar, Jiang Xuan loudly gives the pre-battle mobilization, stepping forward to remind those lacking supplies. Over 100 warriors from the Vine Tribe, except for the women and children, must all mobilize. To be safe, after they leave, the women and children will temporarily hide in the underground passage where enough food is prepared to last them a while. Once everyone is prepared, Jiang Xuan nods at Qi Xiao. Qi Xiao slowly steps onto the altar, then opens her arms and begins chanting witchcraft to invoke the gods. This time, the invocation is not for sacrifice, but for war. Boom, boom, boom. With the ancient witchcraft chant, on the stone mountain, the giant vine erupts with radiant green light and begins to move. The enormous vine starts rotating in the opposite direction from the tip, gradually detaching and freeing itself from the stone mountain, causing debris to fall constantly. When the divine vine completely separates from the stone mountain, it sways gently in the air like a vast green dragon. Underground, countless divine vine roots are retracting, making the ground quake as if experiencing an earthquake. After a long time, the massive divine vine finally detaches from the earth, floating in the air. The 36 giant dragonflies also take flight, circling around the divine vine in rhythm, creating an astounding scene. However, Jiang Xuan hesitates, because the display of the divine vine is too grand. Even from far away, it can be seen clearly. Will the mosquito tribe stand their ground, awaiting doom upon seeing this? Won't they just flee? Just as Jiang Xuan is conflicted about whether to warn the divine vine, suddenly in the sky, the divine vine rapidly shrinks from the size of Stone Mountain to a mere 2 or 3 meters tall, the radiant light slowly retracting. This is much better. Jiang Xuan finally doesn't have to hesitate. With this scaled-down divine vine, its stealth is much stronger, unlikely to be spotted prematurely. The 36 giant dragonflies can't shrink, but their flying speed is faster than that of the bird-beaked mosquitoes, ensuring the mosquito tribe notices only when they've already reached above their territory. Qi Xiao appears to communicate further with the divine vine. She turns around, slowly descends from the altar, and approaches Jiang Xuan. The vine god says we can depart. All right. Jiang Xuan stands before the warriors, making no superfluous statements, just shouts. Target, Great Swamp Mosquito Tribe, move out. Vine Tribe's over 100 warriors, along with the divine vine and giant dragonflies, leave the bamboo forest and head towards the Great Swamp. Previously, Vine Tribe had clashed with the Mosquito Tribe several times, and Jiang Xuan had anticipated a day like today. He had already inquired about the location of the Mosquito Tribe from the Mountain Turtle Tribe and sketched a crude map. Now they just need to follow the map to reach the Great Swamp and find the Mosquito Tribe. They enter the thundering mountain range, rapidly moving towards the direction of the Great Swamp. Meanwhile, the Mosquito Tribe is still debating whether to launch a large-scale attack on the Vine Tribe to avenge the fallen hunting team warriors and birdbeak mosquitoes. On the second year of the Vine Tribe's founding, July 28th morning, the Vine Tribe finally arrives at the Great Swamp and finds the location of the Mosquito Tribe. Chief, should we prepare an ambush? On a mountain opposite the Mosquito Tribe, the newly arrived Tongue softly asks Jiang Xuan. Jiang Xuan glances towards the sky, noticing the divine vine rapidly drifting towards the Mosquito Tribe, accompanied by the 36 giant dragonflies. Their wing beats like dozens of helicopters. Jiang Xuan helplessly replies, "What's the point of ambushing? The vine god and those giant dragonflies are about to start fighting the Mosquito Tribe. Follow my order and prepare to attack." Yes. Gotong tells the hunting team, one warriors behind him, prepare to attack. Other teams are nervous yet gradually excited. The tribe's belligerent bloodline begins to boil. Jiang Xuan leads over 100 warriors, sprinting towards the Mosquito Tribe, no longer caring about concealment, as it's unnecessary now. At this moment, the divine vine and 36 giant dragonflies have already flown above the Mosquito Tribe, creating such a commotion, making it impossible for the Mosquito Tribe not to notice. What's flying in the sky? Seems like a vine and many giant dragonflies. Yeah, why does that vine seem to be growing bigger? Not good, they're diving down. It's the giant vine from that small tribe. Enemy attack, enemy attack. The Mosquito Tribe warriors shout, and the birdbeak mosquitoes resting in the forest all take flight. In the sky, the divine vine grows larger and larger, vast as a green dragon, emanating a green light. The terrifying presence throws the entire Mosquito Tribe into chaos. Chapter 111, Mosquito Tribe, Annihilation. Boom! In the sky above, the enormous divine vine slowly descended. Countless terrifying roots quickly extended towards the ground, piercing through anything in their path, whether it be people or houses. On the ground, members of the Mosquito Tribe screamed in terror, fleeing and dodging the roots. 36 giant dragonflies also swooped towards the ground, the bird-beaked mosquitoes rising up only to collide head-on with the giant dragonflies, instantly becoming food. Buzz! A bird-beaked mosquito was flying rapidly. Suddenly, a giant dragonfly swooped past. Its fearsome 6 barbed claws instantly grabbed the bird-beaked mosquito, the barbs piercing into its body, leaving no chance for escape. Crunch! While flying with the bird-beaked mosquito, the giant dragonfly lowered its head, using its powerful mandibles to bite off the head, then quickly chewed it. After consuming the head and the most nutritious parts, the giant dragonfly discarded the remaining wings, abdomen, and claws. The other giant dragonflies did the same, frantically capturing bird-beaked mosquitoes, consuming the most nutritious parts, then continuing to catch and eat the next one. These terrifying bird-beaked mosquitoes, though in an overwhelming swarm, were utterly powerless against the 36 giant dragonflies and were completely scattered. How could this happen? How could this happen? In a bamboo house nestled on a mountainside, the witch of the Mosquito Tribe walked out the door, watching her tribesmen ensnared by the terrifying roots and seeing the bird-beaked mosquitoes preyed upon by giant dragonflies on the verge of collapse. Only now did she finally understand that the small tribe they had previously looked down upon and even stolen 3 large pottery cauldrons from actually had a living totem god. If she had known earlier, she would never have let the hunting team provoke this small tribe. Unfortunately, it's too late to say anything now. That giant vine is too terrifying. What should we do now? The leader of the mosquito tribe ran over in a panic. He had just tried to lead men to chop the divine vine's roots, but 7 or 8 warriors got entwined in the blink of an eye. If the mosquito tribe leader hadn't sensed danger and pulled a warrior to die in his stead, he might not have returned. Grinding her teeth, the mosquito tribe witch said, "Prepare a blood sacrifice. Summon the spirit of the guardian god." Yes, the mosquito tribe leader shouted loudly to the nearby warriors, "Prepare a blood sacrifice." Those warriors immediately ran towards the pens holding prisoners, which were at the outskirts of the mosquito tribe, so they weren't covered by the divine vine's roots. They rushed into the pens, grabbing people without hesitation. The 16 or 17-year-old girl was very clever. When she saw mosquito tribe warriors rushing over, she immediately crawled madly inside, hiding behind a crowd. Sure enough, almost half of the people in the front were taken, and those mosquito tribe warriors didn't have time to choose. Yet, the girls successfully avoided disaster. The mosquito tribe warriors captured about 100 people, roughly escorting them away hurriedly. The girl looked up at the massive divine vine in the sky, a glimmer of hope rising in her heart. The mosquito tribe was being attacked. This was a disaster for them, but an opportunity for her, a chance to escape. If the chaos increased a bit, the warriors guarding the pens would have to join the battle, leaving this place unguarded, and she could find a way to escape. In her heart, the girl prayed, "Create chaos. Let it become even more chaotic. It would be best if this giant vine could destroy the mosquito tribe." Outside the mosquito tribe, Jiang Xuan arrived at the outskirts of the tribe after the divine vine had grown larger and the giant dragonflies began their charge. However, he didn't foolishly lead his men directly into the fray, because compared to the mosquito tribe, the warriors of the vine tribe were still not a match. Rushing in recklessly would surely result in significant casualties. All leaders, disperse your warriors, seek out isolated individuals, throw spears, shoot arrows, ambush. Remember not to rush in foolishly or engage a melee. Do you understand? The 6 leaders felt a bit dumbfounded upon hearing Jiang Xuan's words. They watched the totem god rooting itself in the mosquito tribe, those giant dragonflies scattering the bird-beaked mosquitoes into chaos, each one filled with fervor, eager to charge into battle. Yet, the leader unexpectedly forbade them to rush, but instead told them to scatter and launch ambushes. This doesn't seem quite right. At this moment, Qi Shao calmly spoke. What the leader said is correct. Most of our warriors have just broken through, lacking battle experience. We shouldn't engage in direct combat. Let's scatter. With both the leader and the witch speaking, the 6 leaders could only suppress their excitement, leading their teams to disperse according to Jiang Xuan's orders, specifically targeting isolated warriors of the mosquito tribe or bird-beaked mosquitoes for ambushes. At present, the mosquito tribe is in chaos due to the divine vine and giant dragonflies, with quite a few solitary warriors running out. Soon, from time to time, screams will echo around the mosquito tribe. Over 100 warriors from the vine tribe continuously hunt, stealthily weakening the mosquito tribe's power. Jiang Xuan and Qi Shao also join the fray, as their strength is relatively strong, often killing mosquito tribe warriors with a single blow. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Just when Jiang Xuan thought the mosquito tribe could be wiped out soon, suddenly a blood-red light shot into the sky from the mosquito tribe, accompanied by the buzzing of bird-beaked mosquitoes. In an instant, all the bird-beaked mosquitoes flew in one direction of the tribe, even disregarding the attacks from the giant dragonflies. Halfway up the hillside where the mosquito tribe which resides, there's a simple altar where at this moment over 100 corpses are piled up like a mountain, a stench of blood filling the sky. A terrifying spirit emerged from the altar, then plunged into the pile of corpses, madly extracting the essence from the blood. This spirit took the shape of a bird-beaked mosquito, but its aura was far more terrifying than ordinary bird-beaked mosquitoes, and as it rapidly absorbed the blood essence, its aura became increasingly dreadful. Over the mosquito tribe, the divine vine also sensed the commotion on the mosquito tribe's altar. Most of its roots had already penetrated the soil, and it no longer planned to wait. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Dozens of thick vines, shimmering with verdant brilliance, rushed towards the mosquito tribe's altar, intending to interrupt the spirit's blood essence extraction. Within the pile of corpses, the blood-red bird-beaked mosquito had grown immensely large, with a wingspan exceeding 10 meters. It even roared at the divine vine, then flashed a streak of bloodlight to dodge the vines, speeding up its extraction of blood essence. At the same time, countless bird-beaked mosquitoes fearlessly charged towards the divine vine, frantically attacking the green vines with their sharp beaks. Snap, snap, snap. The vines began lashing, killing many of the bird-beaked mosquitoes, sending them flying, bursting them apart, but their sheer numbers and fearlessness were causing the vine god great annoyance. The mosquito god is about to succeed. Beside the altar, the mosquito tribe which knelt before the altar, raising her arms, a frenzied expression on her face. The mosquito tribe leader was also beside the altar with many warriors, equally excited, believing the totem spirit born from the blood sacrifice would be strong enough to challenge the divine vine. Atop the pile of corpses, the blood-red bird-beaked mosquito grew larger, the black wind swirling more fiercely, a menacing aura spreading. However, at this moment, the divine vine, fed up with the relentless assault from the bird-beaked mosquitoes, suddenly unleashed its full power. The massive main stem of the divine vine erupted with an incredibly terrifying light, then violently slammed down towards the altar. Previously, the divine vine had utilized smaller vines for attacks, but now it employed the main stem, and its power was incomparable. A large swath of the densely packed bird-beaked mosquitoes was instantly destroyed, unable even to escape. Boom! Then, the enormous vine struck the mountainside, collapsing the mountain body, shattering the altar completely. No, the mosquito tribe, which gazed at the ever-growing, ever-nearing divine vine and let out a piercing scream, her newly sprouted hope mercilessly shattered by the divine vine. Thud! In the desperate gazes of the mosquito tribe, which, the mosquito tribe leader and the warriors beside the altar, they all were smashed into a pulp by the gigantic vine. The blood-red bird-beaked mosquito was also struck, letting out a heart-wrenching scream, with half its spirit body torn apart. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The divine vine left it no chance, as countless green vines, shining with divine light, enveloped the blood-red bird-beaked mosquito. The blood-red bird-beaked mosquito tried to escape, but was trapped by the overwhelming vines. Countless vines entwined the blood-red bird-beaked mosquito layer upon layer, tightening more and more. The blood-red bird-beaked mosquito struggled frantically, but it was futile. The difference in power between the two was indeed significant. Once the divine vine fully unleashed, there was no chance of resistance. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. The divine vine began extracting the soul power from the blood-red bird-beaked mosquito. Initially, the blood-red bird-beaked mosquito could still struggle, but as its soul power was drained, its struggles weakened, until its soul power was depleted, vanishing like smoke. The green light on the divine vine shone even brighter. The mosquito tribe had lost its totem spirit, its witch, and its leader. Extinction was already inevitable. Chapter 112. Harvest. Boom! After the divine vine killed the blood-colored bird-beaked mosquito, it became even more fierce. Its vines and roots attacked simultaneously, swiftly slaughtering those bird-beaked mosquitoes and mosquito tribe warriors. The mosquito tribe warriors ran and cried, but they couldn't escape their fate of death. The green light of the divine vine grew stronger as it absorbed countless nutrients, making its power even more terrifying. Under the joint extermination by the divine vine, giant dragonflies, and vine tribe warriors, The vast mosquito tribe was almost completely wiped out. However, the people held in pens outside the mosquito tribe survived, as neither the divine vine nor the vine tribe warriors harmed them, because they were not members of the mosquito tribe. When everything ended, the roots of the divine vine quickly retracted and flew back into the sky. Those giant dragonflies, having feasted, rested on large trees outside the mosquito tribe. The whole mosquito tribe was now a wasteland of bones, and the name Mosquito Tribe would become a part of the southern wilderness's history. Jiang Xuan led his people into the mosquito tribe, and as he looked at the countless bones, he felt a bit uncomfortable since he wasn't truly a native. But this cruel primordial world was just like that. To survive, one must fight for their life. Fight against the weather, against people, against fierce birds and beasts, poisonous snakes and insects, and various dangerous plants. If one was not ruthless enough, the ones dying could easily be themselves and those around them. Jiang Xuan had no doubt that if the vine tribe had been broken through, the mosquito tribe would be even more ruthless. This was confirmed when he entered a house that hadn't collapsed. Inside the house, he saw an arm being roasted over a fire, already burnt, with a foul burnt smell permeating the air. Beside the fire pit, there were many human bones with cut and chopped marks, as well as teeth marks. Seeing all this, Jiang Xuan felt a chill and an urge to vomit from the disgust. Flesh-eating tribe. Jiang Xuan ran out of the house, and his fleeting sympathy vanished without a trace upon seeing those bones. It was his first time seeing a real flesh-eating tribe. The visual, olfactory, and mental impact nearly made him vomit. In his view, those who ate their kind were no longer human, but human-shaped beasts. Soon, other warriors also emerged from the houses, their expressions slightly unnatural but much better than Jiang Xuan's, as they lacked civilized education. Jiang Xuan said, "Take everything that is edible and usable, and do it quickly." Jiang Xuan didn't want to linger here. "Yes, Chief." All the warriors of the Vine tribe immediately sprang into action, quickly sweeping through the mosquito tribe. Other than the unacceptable items, they packed everything else to take away. The mosquito tribe had previously plundered several small tribes, so there was no shortage of beast hides, beast bones, beast teeth, stones, stone tools, bone tools, and food supplies. Jiang Xuan ordered the warriors to gather these resources and organize them on the open ground outside the mosquito tribe. While Jiang Xuan was tallying the resources, a warrior hurriedly ran over. "Chief, we found a group of prisoners outside the mosquito tribe, likely captured from other tribes. Take me to see them." Jiang Xuan followed the warrior to the outskirts of the mosquito tribe, where the prisoners were held, and saw a group of emaciated people, almost devoid of human semblance. Upon seeing the Vine tribe warriors, they all huddled together in fear, clearly terrified of being killed. The situation here was managed by Shi and his hunting team too, and Shi also stood outside the pen. Shi asked Jiang Xuan, "Chief, what should we do with these people?" Jiang Xuan frowned slightly, as these people were incredibly weak and in poor condition. After destroying the mosquito tribe, the Vine tribe gained a wealth of resources, making it a prime time for expanding their population. However, these people looked too fragile to even manage the 2 or 3 days' journey back to the Vine tribe. But if left here, given their condition, they would most likely die. Jiang Xuan wasn't indifferent to life, and the Vine tribe needed more people. After pondering for a moment, he looked up at the sky with an idea in mind. Jiang Xuan said to Shi, "Go and fetch the witch." "All right." Shi immediately ran to find Qi Xiao, then brought her to Jiang Xuan. "Chief, you wanted to see me?" In the presence of outsiders, Qi Xiao usually addressed Jiang Xuan as Chief, and Jiang Xuan would call Qi Xiao Witch. Which try communicating with the Vine God to see if divine power can enhance some of these people's bodies. "If possible, I'd like to take them back." Qi Xiao nodded and closed her eyes to communicate with the divine vine. After a moment, Qi Xiao opened her eyes and said, "The Vine God agreed." Jiang Xuan looked toward the sky at the divine vine and said, Thank the vine god for its mercy. In the sky, the divine vine extended a vibrant green vine, stretching swiftly over the pens, gently swaying. Green liquid drizzled down like fine rain, quickly absorbing into the bodies of the prisoners. Chapter 113. Harvest 2. The condition of these prisoners visibly improved. Their eyes were no longer vacant, their skin became radiant, and their muscles regained strength. I'm healed. I'm healed. A prisoner with a broken arm suddenly realized that he could raise his hand, and his body was filled with energy once more. He cried out excitedly and immediately knelt on the ground, worshiping the divine vine soaring in the sky. The other prisoners gradually discovered their strength had returned, and their injuries miraculously healed. Thank the grace of the divine. Thank the divine. All the prisoners knelt down fervently, bowing to the divine vine in the sky. Witnessing this scene, Jiang Xuan finally breathed a sigh of relief. The divine vine displayed divine intervention, not only healing the injuries of these prisoners, but also improving their constitution and evoking their gratefulness toward the divine vine. Similarly, they would initially establish trust and goodwill toward the vine tribe as well, which was beneficial for Jiang Xuan to bring them back to the tribe. After the divine vine withdrew its branches, these prisoners were no longer weak and restored to the physical condition of average people. Once they stopped bowing, Jiang Xuan addressed these prisoners. We belong to the vine tribe. The mosquito tribe has been eliminated by us. Now, I offer you two choices. One is to return with us to the vine tribe, and the other is to stay here. However, I must remind you, many fierce bird-beaked mosquitoes have escaped. They fear to emerge with the vine god present, but once the vine god departs, they will surely return. If you choose to stay here, facing those bird-beaked mosquitoes lacking a tribe, I need not explain the consequences further, right? Upon hearing this, the prisoners could not help but shiver, clearly having been left with a psychological shadow by those bird-beaked mosquitoes. Among the prisoners, a girl about 16 or 17 years old was the first to step forward. She mustered her courage, looked at Jiang Xuan, and asked, "If we go to the vine tribe, will we be cultivated like livestock for food?" Jiang Xuan shook his head and said, "You can rest easy on that point. Our vine tribe has never eaten people." The girl sighed in relief and asked again, "Will you lock us up then?" "Of course not. Bringing you back to the tribe is to help with work. If you perform well in the future, you might even join the vine tribe and become a tribe member." The girl rejoiced and resolutely said, "I'll go with you. I'm not afraid of hardship, and I could do a lot." Jiang Xuan sized up the girl. She was wearing a very worn grass skirt, looking dirty all over, not very tall, quite frail, but with a determined gaze, unlike the other prisoners. Jiang Xuan asked, "What's your name?" "My name is Dong Kuei." "Good. Dong Kuei, you will come back with us." Jiang Xuan then looked at the other prisoners and asked, "What about you? Are you coming with us or staying in the mosquito tribe, waiting for revenge from the bird-beaked mosquitoes?" The prisoners, thinking about the terrifying bird-beaked mosquitoes, immediately agreed without hesitation to go with the vine tribe. "Good, then come out. Hunting team 2, untie the ropes on them." The prisoners had sturdy tree bark ropes or grass ropes tied around their hands and feet, akin to primitive shackles preventing them from escaping. Chiu led hunting team 2 forward and untied all the ropes on the prisoners. The prisoners, now regaining freedom, were all moved to tears. If not for the arrival of the vine tribe, they would ultimately become food for the mosquito tribe. Chiu, get them in line and count the numbers. Chiu led a few warriors to line the prisoners into several rows and counted them one by one. After 2 rounds of counting, Chiu reported to Jiang Xuan, "Chief, there are a total of 89 people." Jiang Xuan nodded and told the prisoners, "Good. Continue collecting resources and return to the tribe once finished." The warriors of the vine tribe quickly sprang into action, and the prisoners did not idle, joining in the resource collection. By the time the sun tilted westward, all the edible and usable resources in the mosquito tribe had been collected by the vine tribe, forming several small piles. This battle's spoils were incredibly bountiful. The warriors of the vine tribe were all beaming with joy, and even the prisoners shared the happiness. Jiang Xuan had no plans to spend the night in the mosquito tribe, as staying there made him quite uncomfortable. Divide these items. Each person carries part of it, then return to the tribe. Over 100 warriors of the vine tribe, along with 89 prisoners, stepped forward either to carry or help transport some of the spoils. Even the giant dragonflies were enlisted by Jiang Xuan, commanded via the divine vine, to assist in transporting a portion of the spoils. Afterward, they embarked on the return journey with these spoils. In the sky, 36 giant dragonflies carrying the spoils took flight in the direction of the vine tribe. The vine god shrank again, hovering above the vine tribe's ranks, flying leisurely. With the vine god around, those fierce birds and beasts dared not approach, allowing the vine tribe's team to return peacefully. 3 days later, accompanied by abundant spoils, everyone finally returned to the vine tribe. Boom, boom, boom. The divine vine returned to the stone mountain. Its roots re-entered the ground, quickly growing larger, like a giant dragon circling around the stone mountain. Chapter 114, Harvest 3. The giant dragonflies had already flown back to the vine tribe. After the tribal warriors unloaded the spoils of war from their backs, the dragonflies excitedly soared into the sky, circled a few times, and then returned to Stone Mountain to rest on the divine vine. The women and children hiding in the ground holes came out. When they saw the piles of spoils, their eyes widened, wishing they had personally joined the battle. However, they quickly participated in sorting the spoils, tirelessly enjoying the task. The people of the Vine tribe were overjoyed because they won the tribal war with almost no casualties, something almost impossible for other tribes. The 89 former captives felt somewhat at a loss upon arriving at the Vine tribe, even sensing a sense of absurdity. Because the Vine tribe was too small, with few houses and a small population. Yet this tribe had managed to wipe out the powerful and fierce mosquito tribe. Since they were already here, they had no other choice but to settle down and help the Vine tribe with work. The young girl Dong Koe was quite satisfied with the Vine tribe, or rather, simply surviving made her content, without demanding more. Jiang Xuan assigned half of the warriors to help these 89 people build temporary accommodations, then led others to start sorting the spoils. The task of sorting the spoils lasted 5 whole days because they not only needed to tally, but also categorize and store them. When all the spoils were processed, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. They gazed at the piles of spoils in the houses, feeling unprecedented satisfaction. These things were all theirs. The Vine tribe established its second year, August 7th, sunny. The red crystal millet has borne fruit. In the fields, Jiang Xuan and Gonsong looked at the tall red crystal millet bearing heavy fruits. The stalks and leaves of the red crystal millet were purplish red, resembling corn but much taller, each plant standing 3 or 4 meters high, very thick, almost like small trees. However, its fruits resembled cereal crops, forming grain heads, with 3 or 4 large, heavy heads on each plant. The not yet mature red crystal millet was light red, each grain the size of a fingertip. According to the seeds of red crystal millet Jiang Xuan had obtained before, they should grow to the size of pigeon eggs. Recently, everyone was busy with war and tallying supplies, leaving Gonsong no time to inspect his precious crops. Unexpectedly, when he came early this morning, he found that the red crystal millet had borne fruit. He immediately shared this good news with Jiang Xuan. Jiang Xuan looked at the tall red crystal millet and exclaimed in surprise. It seems this thing's yield is much higher than we anticipated. If we can successfully plant a large quantity, red crystal millet could become our staple food. Gonsong chuckled warmly, saying, "Chief, does that mean we won't have to worry about going hungry in the future?" Jiang Xuan replied, "If no disasters occur, red crystal millet, along with stone eggs, round potatoes, sweet potatoes, and those vegetables will not only keep us from going hungry, but may even yield a significant surplus." A surplus indeed. Upon hearing this, Song became excited, as he had lived for so many years without seeing much surplus. Jiang Xuan's words made him dream of a future where the Vine tribe had mountains of surplus, and everyone could eat their fill. Chapter 115. Don't come any closer. 10 brand new bamboo and wood huts appeared on the empty ground on the left side of the Vine tribe, each accommodating 8 or 9 people. These new homes were constructed by combining bamboo and wood. Although they weren't very attractive, they were solid and sturdy. 89 former captives moved into these houses. When a fire pit started burning brightly, many people shed tears. In the Mosquito tribe, they were treated like livestock, only allowed to eat some wild grass and wild vegetables, and sometimes even leaves. Now they lived in new and spacious houses, had fire pits, food to eat, and clean places to sleep. Not only that, the Vine tribe also sent over several large pottery cauldrons so they could cook their meals. Even in their original tribe, they had never used such good pottery cauldrons. The Vine tribe is too good. Why didn't we come here sooner? A man hugged the fire pit and wailed because several of his loved ones had been eaten by the Mosquito tribe, unable to see these good days anymore. Others heard his cries and thought of their own loved ones and fellow tribe members, and many began to cry as well. Dong Kui didn't cry. At that moment, she was holding a pottery bowl, squatting by the fire pit, practicing how to use chopsticks. Chopsticks were the utensils that the Vine tribe required everyone to learn to use. Compared to painstakingly making a wooden bowl or bamboo bowl, firing a pottery bowl was much easier. Now, the Vine tribe could fire 100 pottery bowls in one kiln. Therefore, everyone in the Vine tribe now used pottery bowls. Making chopsticks was also easy, requiring only 2 straight small wooden sticks to be polished smooth. Gurgle, gurgle. The food in the pottery cauldron kept rolling and boiling. Inside, there were some plant tubers, small fish, and shrimp, as well as wild vegetables. As these plants slowly cooked, the rich aroma quickly stopped those by the fire pit from crying. Is it done? An impatient young boy reached out to grab the long-handled spoon to scoop food, but a tall, middle-aged man slapped his hand away. Don't mess around, or you won't be eating today. This middle-aged man was the strongest of the people in this house. Jiang Xuan entrusted the power of food distribution to him to prevent chaos. Every house had someone like him, who temporarily acted as a manager. Of course, apart from distributing food, they had no other authority and worked just like everyone else. The juvenile awkwardly withdrew his hand and then waited patiently. After the robust middle-aged man felt the food in the pottery cauldron was cooked, he moved the firewood aside and announced the meal could start. The robust middle-aged man picked up the spoon and first scooped a full bowl for himself, then went around scooping for the others. Everyone held their pottery bowls, clutching chopsticks, eagerly watching him, hoping he'd scoop a bit more for them. Unfortunately, the robust middle-aged man dared not scoop extra food for anyone because Jiang Xuan said that if the distribution was unfair, everyone in the house could report him to Jiang Xuan, who would revoke his food distribution rights. This was considered a relatively primitive monitoring system. Of course, the quantity of the food he dared not reduce, but whether it was more wild vegetables or more fish lay within his control. He would naturally scoop more fish and shrimp for those he liked, and more wild vegetables for those he didn't. Consequently, people in the house dared not offend him, and many even tried to please him. When it came to Dong Kui, the robust middle-aged man smiled happily and scooped more fish for her, saying, "Dong Kui, eat more fish to nourish your body." This robust middle-aged man liked Dong Kui and wanted to have children with her, but Dong Kui refused. Had this been another tribe, the robust middle-aged man might have forced his way, but in the Vine tribe he didn't dare. Jiang Xuan set another rule for them: no forced relationships with others, nor any abuse of underage girls or severe punishments, even expulsion from the tribe, would await them. Hence, the robust middle-aged man could only try to win Dong Kui over, waiting for her to agree. However, Dong Kui simply smiled, ate all the food cleanly, but steadfastly refused him, because Dong Kui saw no worth in him. Upon arriving at the Vine tribe, Dong Kui truly realized the goodness of this tribe. She hoped to stay here indefinitely. To remain in the Vine tribe, she pondered for a long time and finally came up with a way to become a partner of a member of the Vine tribe. She searched around the Vine tribe and ultimately focused her attention on Jiang Xuan. If she could pair with the chief, she would surely be able to stay in the Vine tribe. Therefore, facing proposition from the robust middle-aged man or others, Dong Kui unhesitatingly rejected them, seeing no merit in these people. Sigh. Dong Kui blew on the food in the pottery bowl, then took a sip of the broth, which tasted of wild vegetables, fish, and had a faint salty flavor. Salt. Dong Kui was more determined to stay in the Vine tribe. Which other small tribe could live days this good? Dong Kui cherished this hard-earned life. Clumsily using chopsticks, Dong Kui shoveled all the food in the bowl in her mouth bit by bit, not wasting even the broth. After eating, she noticed there were still small oil spots in the pottery bowl, so she poured half a bowl of water in, stirred it with chopsticks, and drank all the water. After filling their stomachs, they took a short break before heading out to work. Jiang Xuan arranged some to clear fields, some to dig canals, and others to repair roads. Dong Kui's members from her hut were responsible for digging canals. It was exhausting, but everyone worked hard because having experienced days of potential death, being tired was no big deal. On August 15th, Jiang Xuan moved into a new bamboo hut. As the chief, he finally had his own house and didn't have to squeeze in with others. This bamboo hut was located amidst the bamboo forest beside a stream, similar in specification to Qi Shao's bamboo hut, and also had a courtyard. Jiang Xuan made some mud bricks and then set up the new bamboo bed to actually rise off the ground. Lying on the brand new bamboo bed, gazing around the spacious room, he felt both body and mind relaxed. This was his own space, a place of freedom. When living with others, there was no privacy whatsoever, and he didn't like that feeling. At night, Jiang Xuan leisurely sat by the fire pit roasting meat, with the aroma wafting all around. Smells so good. Just then, a voice sounded from outside. Who is it? Jiang Xuan had long heard the footsteps, but wasn't concerned, for with the divine vine's protection, whoever came here couldn't be an enemy. He put down the roasting skewer and opened the door. Outside was Dong Kui with a torch, looking a bit sheepish. Chief, can I come in? It's Dong Kui, come in. Jiang Xuan sat back by the fire pit and casually asked, What brings you to me? As a chief, people often came looking for him, so Jiang Xuan was accustomed to it. Dong Kui didn't speak. She gazed at the meat over the fire for quite a while, secretly swallowing. Seeing this, Jiang Xuan handed her a skewer and said, Hungry? Eat it. But after you finish, don't tell anyone else, or everyone will come looking to snack on my meat, which wouldn't be good. Dong Kui eagerly nodded, received the skewer, and quickly finished it, even wiping her mouth clean. Now can you tell me what it's about? Dong Kui put the skewer aside, looking directly at Jiang Xuan with blazing eyes, and said, Chief, I want to have a child with you. As soon as she spoke, a grass skirt slid directly onto the ground. In the hazy firelight, Jiang Xuan was caught off guard, seeing something he shouldn't, and was stunned beyond words. He stepped back, inwardly crying out, Don't come over here. Chapter 116, Giant Horn Beast. Jiang Xuan eventually made Dong Kui put on a grass skirt and pushed her out, not allowing her to spend the night in his house. Dong Kui was obviously disappointed by this, but there was nothing she could do. She could only hold a torch and return to her own dwelling. Jiang Xuan closed the door, his heart still pounding wildly, his head filled with a jumble of thoughts. The reason he rejected Dong Kui was not that he was noble, but because he didn't want to act like a beast, sleeping with others indiscriminately. The soul from the future, the education he had received, made it impossible for him to do such things. One must know, under such primitive conditions, once you sleep together, it's truly possible to end up having a child. Impulsiveness is a demon, especially for someone like Jiang Xuan, who has a sense of responsibility and cannot act impulsively. At the very least, one should find someone they like, nurture some feelings, and then take the next step, right? Furthermore, this body of his was only 14 years old, and in his mind, this age is still a child. No matter how others handle it, he definitely did not want to have children so young. It was too terrifying. The next day, Jiang Xuan saw Dong Kuei again. The tribe was only so big, you run into each other all the time. Jiang Xuan felt a bit awkward, while Dong Kuei was okay, just a little disappointed. But she didn't give up, thinking it was just because she was too starved that the mosquito tribe had become thin and didn't look good. Once she gained a bit of weight, looked better, Jiang Xuan surely wouldn't reject her again. In the aesthetic values of the tribe, a strong, more robust woman is the most beautiful. Jiang Xuan didn't know what she thought. To avoid awkwardness and also to gather more food, he led hunting team 1 into the mountains. Although the vine tribe had started planting and breeding, even obtaining some good types of grains, it had only been a short time, and farming and livestock breeding were insufficient to meet the food needs of the tribe. Hunting and gathering remained important sources of food. As the most powerful warrior of the tribe, Jiang Xuan often led the hunting team into the mountains, seeking large prey to increase the tribe's meat supply. Today, Jiang Xuan had set his sights on a giant horned beast. The giant horned beast is a large herbivorous wild beast, but ordinary predators generally dare not easily target it as prey. Because the body of the giant horned beast was too large, with an adult weighing over 5,000 pounds. It had thick skin and tough flesh, and a huge horn atop its head. If one were carelessly hit by the horn, even if not killed, they would surely be seriously injured. When Jiang Xuan was not around, the hunting teams from the Vine tribe dare not target such prey because they couldn't handle it. But Jiang Xuan was different. He was now a 4-color warrior, theoretically capable of hunting a giant-toothed tiger alone. At this moment, a giant horned beast was leisurely walking through a mountain forest, occasionally finding some tender leaves or wild grass to eat. The giant horned beast looked somewhat like a tapir, but with a huge horn atop its head, occupying almost a third of its head, and had a long tail, looking very strange. In the woods not far from the giant horned beast, Gotung whispered to Jiang Xuan, "Leader, shall we make a move?" Facing such a large creature, ordinary traps were useless. Even digging a pitfall would need to be very large, time-consuming, and labor-intensive. All the hunting team warriors could rely on was sheer numbers, along with the leader's strength. Jiang Xuan looked around and said, "Set up several tripping ropes in front of it. Choose the strongest ropes, have 5 people pull one rope together. I'll lure it over. Also, prepare the largest vine net. If there's a chance, trap the giant horned beast with it." "Yes." Gotung waved his hand, led 35 warriors from hunting team 1, quietly circled to the woods in front of the giant horned beast, and began setting up the tripping ropes using the thickest bark ropes they had. "Tie them tightly. The giant horned beast is strong. Later on, 5 people should pull one rope. Don't be careless." Gotung instructed the warriors to tie one end of the rope to a tree and took a few of the strongest warriors to the location of the last tripwire, where they laid out a large vine net. This kind of vine net was woven from tough vines. It had high strength, capable of ensnaring most prey. Once the prey was entangled in the vine net, they couldn't run anymore. Once everything was ready, a warrior quickly ran to Jiang Xuan to inform him that everything was set. "All right, let's get ready to move." Jiang Xuan licked his dry lips, gripped the bone spear, and quickly charged towards the giant horned beast. The giant horned beast, hearing the commotion, immediately stopped feeding and looked at Jiang Xuan warily. To the giant horned beast, Jiang Xuan wasn't large, but instinctively it sensed a dangerous aura from Jiang Xuan. It turned its body, lowered its head, and aimed the gigantic horn at Jiang Xuan, while letting out a low growl, its massive body ready to charge. Jiang Xuan did not directly confront it. Instead, he pulled out a short spear from his back mid-run and suddenly hurled it towards the giant horned beast. Swoosh! The short spear, propelled with great force, flew in a parabola towards the shoulder of the giant horned beast with the sound of the air being cut. Thud! The giant horned beast was so large, although strong, it was not very agile, and the short spear embedded in its shoulder, blood flowing. Roar! Enraged, the giant horned beast, with its head low, charged at Jiang Xuan, attempting to gore him with a massive horn. Once the giant horned beast started running, its speed was not slow, and the impact was incredibly frightening. But Jiang Xuan was faster. Jiang Xuan quickly changed direction, moved to the side of the giant horned beast, and threw another short spear. Thud! This short spear again pierced the giant horned beast, making it even more furious. Due to its thick skin and massive size, the two short spears didn't inflict critical wounds, and it didn't have the thought of escaping. Thump, thump, thump. The giant horned beast continued chasing Jiang Xuan, who kept leading in circles, exhausting its energy, occasionally throwing a short spear for extra damage. When 4 or 5 short spears stuck out of the giant horned beast, Jiang Xuan was out of short spears, and its energy was also gradually diminishing from running and its wounds. Now is the time. Jiang Xuan led the giant horned beast into the forest where the hunting team ambushed. When the giant horned beast hesitated, Jiang Xuan turned back towards it, taunting it to keep its anger and continue the chase. Finally, Jiang Xuan crossed the first trip rope, the giant horned beast closely following. Once the giant horned beast approached the trip rope, a warrior suddenly stood up, shouting, "Pull!" Swoosh! The thick rope lying on the ground was suddenly pulled up by 5 warriors, catching the giant horned beast off guard and tripping its front hooves. Boom! The giant horned beast heavily fell to the ground, breaking the short spears on its body. Yet the giant horned beast quickly got up again with speed, and instead of continuing forward, it turned around to run backward. No one expected the giant horned beast to turn and flee. Jiang Xuan was momentarily stunned, then immediately turned to give chase. Chase! Gotung also disregarded the already laid-out vine net, immediately leading the warriors to continue chasing the giant horned beast with Jiang Xuan. Jiang Xuan ran fast, maintaining steady speed. The giant horned beast ran swiftly too, sensing the threat of death and trying to escape for its life. However, the endurance of the giant horned beast was still not as good as Jiang Xuan's. After running a distance, its speed gradually decreased, panting heavily through its nostrils. Thud! Seizing the opportunity, Jiang Xuan ran to the side of the giant horned beast and fiercely stabbed his thick-boned spear into its neck. The giant horned beast let out a wail, tried to pick up speed, but it was severely exhausted. Lie down! When the giant horned beast slowed down again, Jiang Xuan abandoned the bone spear and fiercely punched the head of the giant horned beast. Boom! The giant horned beast was hit with tremendous force, its head knocked askew, the massive body crashing to the ground. Jiang Xuan ran over, delivering heavy punches to its head continuously. Under his terrifying strength as a 4-color warrior, the giant horned beast let out a final wail, its eyes losing light gradually. When Gotung and others arrived, the giant horned beast was already lifeless. The leader is so strong. The warriors of the hunting team looked at Jiang Xuan with fervor, highly admiring the leader's formidable personal strength. Jiang Xuan, gasping heavily, said, "Tie it up and carry it back. This giant horned beast should feed everyone for some time." Yes. Gotung and others quickly ran back to fetch ropes and vine nets, and tied up the massive giant horned beast, taking turns with over 30 warriors to carry it back to the tribe. Chapter 117. Young Bird Tang Yuan. The hunting team pressed on, carrying the giant horned beast. Having captured such a massive creature, everyone felt elated, chatting excitedly about how much could be made from the beast's horns, hide, and bones. Jiang Xuan was also in high spirits, for he truly felt his immense power now, a guarantee for survival. "Leader, there's a bird up ahead. It can't fly and it's huge." Just then, a warrior scouting ahead came rushing back, excitement all over his face. "Can't fly? Take me to see it." Jiang Xuan followed the warrior, running swiftly forward. In the primitive jungle, there are all kinds of birds. Some can fly, some cannot. Flying birds are more difficult to catch, but non-flying ones, like the plump unicorn bird, make excellent hunting targets for the vine tribe. Having already hunted a giant horned beast, another large non-flying bird would make everyone even happier. Jiang Xuan moved quickly through the jungle's varied terrain, his feet occasionally stepping on the massive moss-covered vines and fallen trees without making much noise. The warriors of the hunting team did the same, and apart from those carrying the prey, everyone appeared to advance lightly. This was inherent for hunters, as too much noise would scare the prey away. Soon, they arrived at the foot of a tall mountain and saw a peculiar-looking large bird. This bird stood over half a man's height, extremely plump. Based on Jiang Xuan's extensive hunting experience, he estimated the bird's weight to be at least 70 to 80 pounds, more than twice the size of a unicorn bird. Strange. I've never seen such a non-flying bird before. Jiang Xuan stared at the large bird under the tree, finding it odd. It was excessively plump, or rather fat. Its eyes were large, but unlike those of fierce birds, they appeared somewhat doe-eyed, and its movements were slow. The Vine Tribe warrior, who was scouting, judged it to be a fierce bird because of its hawk-like beak and strong, sharp claws, and didn't dare to act alone. Jiang Xuan, relying on his strength, approached with a bone spear after sensing something unusual about the large bird. As Jiang Xuan approached, the bird spread its wings, issuing a menacing call at him. A fledgling, Jiang Xuan was startled to discover that the bird's wings were fluffy, not covered in the robust feathers typical of adult birds. Moreover, its call wasn't sharp at all. Rather, it sounded quite immature. What kind of bird species is this? How can even the fledglings be bigger than other adult birds? Jiang Xuan found it incredible. What would its size be if it were an adult? The first thought that crossed Jiang Xuan's mind was the old witch's giant black eagle. That giant eagle had a wingspan of over 20 meters, terrifyingly large, preying on all kinds of fierce and strong beasts. Secondly, there were the Black Teeth tribe's black-toothed birds, with wingspans of over 10 meters. Although not as large as the giant eagle, their endurance was excellent, capable of long-distance flights and strong in attack. Could this rotund fledgling be another type of giant bird? Jiang Xuan's heart raced. He longed for a large bird that could take him across the world, just like the Old Witch or the Black Teeth tribe's traveling teams. The Vine tribe currently had giant dragonflies, but they lived short lives and were difficult to form bonds with, let alone communicate. However, large birds typically lived long lives and were quite intelligent, capable of understanding simple words and commands over time. Thinking of this, Jiang Xuan's eyes gleamed as he stared at the large fledgling, frightening it into retreating repeatedly. The fledgling maintained its wings open, making itself appear larger. During confrontations, animals use various methods to seem taller and more menacing, hoping to scare off their opponents. However, knowing it was just a fledgling with little attack power, Jiang Xuan ignored its actions and charged at it. Seeing its threats were ineffective, the fledgling turned to flee, but, being too plump and inexperienced in running, couldn't move quickly. In no time, Jiang Xuan caught up with the fledgling, pinned it down, and tied its claws, preventing further escape. The fledgling cried loudly, but it was futile. Its mother was clearly not around. Jiang Xuan relaxed, previously fearing that the fledgling's cries would attract a bird as large as the giant eagle, forcing them to flee in panic. "Bring a vine net here," Jiang Xuan shouted to the hunting team warriors who had caught up. One of the warriors, responsible for carrying the vine net, quickly took one from his back, and with Jiang Xuan, netted the fledgling. Jiang Xuan tried lifting it but found the fledgling too large to carry, so he found a pole, hung the vine net from it, and had two warriors carry it. Gotong approached Jiang Xuan and looked at the still-calling fledgling, saying, "Leader, are you planning to bring it back for taming?" Jiang Xuan replied, "That's right. This is a fledgling. We'll take it back and see if we can rear it." A fledgling? Gotong thought he misheard, staring in disbelief at the massive bird in the vine net, saying, "Such a large fledgling is really rare." Chapter 118. Young Bird Tang Yuan 2. If it weren't rare, I wouldn't want to raise it. Jiang Xuan was already imagining in his mind what this young bird would look like once it grew up. Currently, The young bird's feathers were gray and white, similar to most young birds of its kind. When they grow up, they will have more brightly colored feathers, completely different from their youthful appearances. A day later, they returned to the vine tribe. The massive giant horned beast sparked cheers among the vine tribe members and was quickly dealt with. The young bird was sent to Jiang Xuan's courtyard, where he used a sturdy tree bark rope to tie in the yard. Along the way, the young bird hadn't eaten anything. After being tied up, it struggled for a while, but couldn't get free, just squatted in place, closing its eyes, occasionally making a sound. Jiang Xuan went to the breeding area and asked a Jiao for some bugs, then brought them back to the yard, trying to feed the young bird. However, when a young bird saw those bugs, it turned its head, not eating them at all. Jiang Xuan switched to several kinds of large bugs and even brought some fish and shrimp. Yet, the young bird only glanced at them a few times and still refused to eat. Jiang Xuan frowned. If the young bird didn't eat, it would starve to death in a few days. What on earth does this young bird want to eat? Jiang Xuan carefully pondered, trying to guess what kind of food the mother bird would feed it. Could it be that it needs to eat beast meat? Jiang Xuan's eyes lit up. Small birds might eat bugs, but large fierce birds like giant eagles certainly wouldn't hunt tiny bugs. They would obviously capture larger prey, even if feeding their young was similar. Coincidentally, the giant horned beast had already been disassembled, and two warriors brought over the horn, the heart, and a portion of the beast meat. Why not try the giant horned beast meat? Jiang Xuan cut the giant horned beast meat into smaller strips and placed them in front of the young bird. This time, the young bird stared at the meat, clearly interested. But after waiting for a long time, Jiang Xuan saw that it still hadn't taken a bite. Go ahead and eat. Let me show you like this, peck at it. Jiang Xuan formed his hand into the shape of a bird's beak and pecked at the meat strips. The young bird lowered its head, tentatively pecking at a strip, but it slipped and fell to the ground. Jiang Xuan, anxious, picked up the meat strip and dangled it above the young bird, shaking it continuously. This time, the young bird finally opened its mouth, caught the meat strip, and swallowed it after a few bites. Jiang Xuan let out a long breath and said, "Finally, it's eating." In his previous life, Jiang Xuan had dug out bird nests and caught some young birds, fantasizing about raising them. But he was too young and impatient then, and the young birds wouldn't eat bugs themselves, so they all starved to death. Since then, he had some psychological shadow about raising birds, afraid they would starve again. If this young bird hadn't eaten just now, he would have forced its beak open to stuff food in. After eating some meat strips, the young bird's mood visibly improved, and it began chirping tweet-tweet again, always pecking at the rope tied to its foot, trying to break it. Jiang Xuan muttered to himself, "Keeping it tied up isn't an option. Can't let it stay indoors at night. Maybe I'll build a shed to lock it in." Jiang Xuan immediately called a few warriors, chopped some sturdy bamboo nearby, and started building a roof shed in the yard. Everyone had experience building bamboo sheds, and the warriors, being extraordinarily strong, had a brand new bamboo shed built by nightfall. Jiang Xuan spread some hay inside the bamboo shed, untied the rope from the young bird's leg, locked it inside, and fed it some more meat strips. The young bird roamed around inside the shed but found no escape opportunity. After night fell, it lay down on the hay and gradually quieted down. Finally, some peace. Jiang Xuan breathed a sigh of relief as the young bird's chirping all day had given him a headache. He cooked some food, washed up, threw some stinky grass into the fire to ward off mosquitoes, then lay on the bamboo bed and fell into a deep sleep. That night, he had a beautiful dream of flying through the sky on the back of a giant bird. Tweet, tweet. The next day, at the break of dawn, Jiang Xuan was awakened by the soul-stirring cries of the young bird. Jiang Xuan got up, sat on the bamboo bed, and said helplessly, "Why do you like to call out so much?" But since he had caught the young bird, he had to continue raising it, even if with reluctance. He went to the shed and saw that the young bird was probably hungry, so he cut some meat strips for it to eat. Sure enough, after gobbling down the food, the young bird finally stopped making noise. Jiang Xuan looked at the large portion of missing beast meat and muttered, "It eats so much. Luckily, food is abundant now, or it would end up in the pot. After the sun rose, many warriors learned that Jiang Xuan had captured a large young bird from the mountain and raised it. They came by to take a look. Qi Xiao also came over, as her bamboo house wasn't far from Jiang Xuan's, and she had heard the bird's calls. Jiang Xuan asked, "Sister, can you tell what kind of bird it is?" Qi Xiao stared at the young bird for a long time and shook her head, saying, "I've never seen this kind of young bird either. If it were an adult, perhaps I could tell." Jiang Xuan nodded, not paying much attention. He would know once it grew up. Qi Xiao observed for a while and then asked, "Have you given it a name?" "A name?" Jiang Xuan scratched his head. He knew that the Jiao had given many names to the animals he raised, like Little Fatty, Big Black, and so on. The tribe's people were also accustomed to naming tameable animals. For instance, the deer tribe had raised many great horned deer, each of which had a name. This was a bit of fun and hard life. Jiang Xuan pondered, watching the young bird for a while, and after some thought, said, "It's round and plump and eats a lot. Why don't we call it Tang Yuan?" "What's Tang Yuan?" Qi Xiao was puzzled. She had never heard of such a word before. Jiang Xuan replied, "It's a food the old man in my dreams told me about. It's round like a ball, can be cooked, and is sweet." Qi Xiao nodded and said, "Sweet food is delicious. Let's call it Tang Yuan." Qi Xiao didn't know that Tang Yuan had a special meaning for Jiang Xuan, representing a longing for his past life. This longing gradually faded as he lived longer in this world, and he feared that one day he would completely forget that world. Thus, the young bird's name was decided. Soon, the entire tribe knew that the leader had a very large young bird, and many warriors were envious, fantasizing about capturing such a young bird themselves. Day by day, autumn quietly arrived, and the hot summer became a thing of the past. This young bird, named Tang Yuan, was carefully raised by Jiang Xuan, growing bigger and eating more each day. Initially, it was a bit afraid of Jiang Xuan, but as time went by, it gradually became less scared and even showed affinity towards him. Gradually, Jiang Xuan tried not to keep it confined, letting it roam around the yard. After some time, Tang Yuan shed its down and gradually grew hard purple and blue feathers, becoming even closer to Jiang Xuan. Jiang Xuan was sure it wouldn't escape, so he opened the courtyard gate, letting it wander in the bamboo forest to look for food. Until one day when Tang Yuan, now covered in hard feathers, returned from the bamboo forest with a snake in its beak and presented it to Jiang Xuan as if showing off. Stunned, Jiang Xuan exclaimed with joy, "Tang Yuan, you actually caught a snake." Tang Yuan proudly raised its head, waiting for praise. "Tang Yuan, you are amazing." Jiang Xuan praised it without reservation. Tang Yuan happily spread its wings, flapping a few times, stirring up a cloud of dust. Jiang Xuan pointed at the snake on the ground and said to Tang Yuan, "This is the first food you've caught. Go ahead and eat." It seemed Tang Yuan understood Jiang Xuan's words, as it pinned the snake down with its sturdy claws and began tearing it apart with its sharp beak, eating it bit by bit. Since then, Tang Yuan seemed to develop a taste for snakes, occasionally bringing one back to eat during its outings. Chapter 119. The Harvest of a Hard Year's Work. Tang Yuan's growth was incredibly fast, astonishing everyone with its almost daily transformation. In just a month, its size doubled, and when standing, it was already as tall as Jiang Xuan. This growth speed was truly terrifying. Along with its size, its appetite also increased. If it hadn't gradually learned to hunt small prey on its own, Jiang Xuan might not have been able to afford to feed it. Meanwhile, its feathers had almost entirely turned purple, with only a blue ring around its neck, resembling a blue scarf. With its sharp beak and sturdy claws, Tang Yuan already had the demeanor of a fierce bird. The snakes that Tang Yuan caught were also getting bigger. Even the venomous snakes that the tribe people avoided fearfully could only become food when they encountered Tang Yuan. Its running speed was also getting faster and faster. The only pity was that its wings were not fully developed yet, so it couldn't fly. On September 15th, Jiang Xuan, along with De Jiao and several warriors, drained the pond where they were breeding fish fry. In the spring, Jiang Xuan had placed many female fish in the pond, which laid numerous eggs and grew into fry. After half a year, these fries had grown to the size of palms, swimming happily throughout the pond. Jiang Xuan caught all these palm-sized fish, putting half into other ponds to continue raising, and the other half he carried to the stream to release them. The reason for waiting until now to release the fish fry was that these fish usually only eat grass and grow relatively slowly. If released too early, they might become food for other carnivorous fish. Now they had grown quite large, possessing a certain ability to protect themselves, so their survival rate in the waters would be higher. The Jiao looked at the lively fish in the rattan basket, reluctantly saying, "Chief, do we really have to release them?" "Of course, didn't I tell you? If we don't release the fish fry and keep catching fish, there will be fewer and fewer fish in the river. Eventually, the river's fish will be depleted." The Jiao understood the logic, but he had carefully nurtured these fish, watching them grow little by little, so he felt a bit reluctant. Splash! Jiang Xuan was the first to pour a whole basket of fish into the stream, watching them swiftly swim to the deeper water until they disappeared. "Go ahead and pour them out. These fish can't stay out of water too long, or they'll die." At Jiang Xuan's urging, the Jiao and the warriors could only pour the baskets of fish into the stream, watching them swim away eagerly. Some of these fish might live in the stream, while others might swim into the broader Feiyu River. In any case, from this moment on, they were free. Jiang Xuan patted De Jiao's shoulder and said, "Don't be reluctant. Trust me, these fish fry will bring us more harvests in the future. Let's go back." Jiang Xuan picked up the empty rattan basket first and headed back, with De Jiao and the warriors following him, returning to the farming area to continue working. However, what they did just now, releasing fish into the stream, was seen by many people working nearby. They didn't understand it. In their eyes, these fish were edible meat. How could they just pour meat into the stream? However, since it was led by the chief, they didn't dare to voice any objections, only whispered regrets privately. After putting back the rattan baskets, Jiang Xuan walked into the fields to check on the red crystal rice, with Gonsong, the leader of the planting team, working nearby, running over too. With the arrival of autumn, the tips of the leaves of the red crystal rice plants gradually dried and turned golden, spreading to the entire plant. The red crystal rice, in the shape of wheat ears, became full and translucent, resembling red crystals, very beautiful. Jiang Xuan stood beneath the 3 or 4 meters tall red crystal rice plants, looking at the heavy red spikes, feeling quite cheerful. Jiang Xuan contentedly said, "In another 7 or 8 days, these red crystal rice should be ripe." Jiang Xuan had planted about 50 or 60 grains of red crystal rice, and when these plants matured, each one could yield several hundred pigeon egg-sized red crystal rice grains, with an astonishingly high yield. If they sow the harvested red crystal rice next year, within a year, the vine tribe will have a true staple food available for everyone. A bright smile appeared on Gonsong's dark face. He had carefully tended to these red crystal rice plants all year, fertilizing, watering, loosening soil, and weeding, not knowing how much effort he had put in, and now, finally, the harvest season had come. Jiang Xuan then said, "Let's go check the other places where red crystal rice is planted." Previously, the vine tribe knew nothing about red crystal rice, so to be safe, Jiang Xuan planted them in different fields. Some fields were drier, some were more humid, some were well lit, while others had less sunlight. Jiang Xuan and Gonsong walked through all the red crystal rice fields. He found that the red crystal rice growing in moist soil and well-lit plains was the best, while those in dry, shady mountainous areas were the worst. Jiang Xuan said, "It seems that these red crystal rice are best suited to grow on well-lit, moist soil plains. Keep a record of this and don't plant them on the mountain land next year." "Okay, I've got it," Gonsong replied. Chapter 120. The Harvest After a Hard Year 2. Gonsong nodded solemnly, because this matter was related to the yield of red crystal rice, and the yield of red crystal rice was related to whether everyone could fill their stomachs through planting. Such an important matter, he must keep in mind. The two of them went to the farmland again to check the growth of other grains and vegetables. Some were already almost ripe, while others needed to grow for a while longer. This year's harvest looks good. The planted grains and vegetables are growing well. It's another bountiful year. On September 22nd, the red crystal rice finally fully ripened, and the vine tribe began the autumn harvest. After working hard for a year, the day of harvest finally arrived, and everyone was very excited. Jiang Xuan held a stone knife and cut down the tallest red crystal rice, then lifted a heavy bundle of red ears above his head and joyfully shouted, "Autumn harvest!" Under the sunlight, those red crystal rice glimmered with gem-like brilliance, very beautiful and very festive. Gonsong cut down another bundle of red ears and similarly shouted, "Autumn harvest! Autumn harvest! Autumn harvest!" In the fields, the tribespeople of the vine tribe erupted in cheers as loud as a mountain or sea, and the whole tribe was immersed in the joy of the harvest. The warriors of the planting team first picked up various primitive farming tools, walked into the fields, and began the busy autumn harvest under the scorching sun. Those mature vegetables required twisting off the roots one by one. Round potatoes and stone eggs needed to have all the vines cut first, and then the soil excavated. It was not easy work, but even though sweat poured down, everyone's faces were filled with smiles, because these were, after all, food. The tall red crystal rice was personally harvested by Jiang Xuan and Gonsong. Jiang Xuan hand-rolled the red crystal rice off the ears one by one and packed them into beast hide bags. When all the red crystal rice was harvested, there were actually 5 large beast hide bags full, an astonishing yield. The yield of such high-yield grain even shocked Jiang Xuan, followed by a burst of joy. With such high-yield grain, is there any fear of having nothing to eat when the population increases? Jiang Xuan carried all this red crystal rice back to the tribe. Afterward, he wove a few large mats from reeds, laid them on open ground, and spread the red crystal rice on the mats to dry. Jiang Xuan knew very well, if not dried, the red crystal rice packed in beast hide bags might mold. If the hard-grown red crystal rice went bad, there would be nowhere to cry. Chirp! Chirp! While Jiang Xuan was drying the red crystal rice, Tang Yuan came over, curious about the red crystal rice laid on the ground, and stretched its neck to peck one and taste the flavor. "Hey, this isn't meat." Jiang Xuan quickly grabbed Tang Yuan's sturdy neck and pushed it aside. Tang Yuan didn't persist in disturbing, as it liked eating meat, not vegetables, just curious about the red crystal rice. Jiang Xuan called 2 guard team warriors to watch over these valuable red crystal rice, ensuring they weren't harmed by the animals raised in the tribe. Those 2 guard team warriors also knew the importance of this, so they guarded these red crystal rice vigilantly, never leaving. Jiang Xuan returned to the farmland to continue working with everyone, harvesting the grains and vegetables slowly and transporting them back to the tribe. Through the efforts of everyone in the vine tribe, the grains and vegetables of the vine tribe quickly piled up like mountains. These grains and vegetables must be well preserved, not randomly placed. Especially leafy vegetables. If not preserved well, they would quickly rot. Jiang Xuan carefully recalled past experiences, then fired a batch of pickle jars and converted some leafy vegetables into long-lasting salted vegetables through boiling, drying, and salting, packed into jars. Some vegetables were boiled, then directly dried into vegetable chips, stored in more sealed beast hide bags. Some vegetables were eaten fresh, and even the rotten leaves and roots were not wasted, thrown to the tamed animals. As for tuber grains like round potato, stone egg, sweet potato, and polygonatum, preservation was easier. Dry the dirt on the surface and stack them in a dry place. But Jiang Xuan quickly realized there were too many grains harvested and couldn't stack them in every house. Otherwise, some people might wake up at night to sneak food. Tribe people feared hunger, offering no resistance to food. To avoid this, Jiang Xuan had to construct 2 granaries. Granaries were entirely constructed of sturdy dried wood, different from other houses. Stone was laid beneath it, and wood panels above to separate from the ground. These extremely solid wood panels were gradually chopped out by warriors of the vine tribe using stone axes, time-consuming and labor-intensive. Moreover, the granary roof was covered with 3 layers of tough bark, effectively preventing leakage. Once the towering granaries were built, all processed grains and vegetables were stored inside, piled high. Many tribe members of the Vine tribe found a new hobby, visiting the granary daily. Even if they couldn't enter, knowing it was filled with food brought satisfaction. Jiang Xuan instructed guard team warriors to watch the granary day and night to prevent unexpected incidents. After all, this place is really important. Vine tribe breeding area. This year, Jiao raised a new animal, a kind of long-tailed rabbit brought back by warriors of hunting team 2. The main feature of these rabbits is their long, furry tails, completely different from other short-tailed rabbits. Long-tailed rabbits are much larger than ordinary rabbits. A mature long-tailed rabbit weighs over 100 pounds, very plump. Moreover, except in winter, long-tailed rabbits can reproduce every 2 months, birthing 2 to 6 each time, with a very high reproductive rate. So, after a few months of breeding, Jiao was surprised to find he now had a group of long-tailed rabbits. He excitedly reported this achievement to Jiang Xuan and led him to see the long-tailed rabbits. "Chief, look, these long-tailed rabbits eat various things, small twigs, vegetable leaves, grass roots, very easy to raise. Also, they grow quickly, are large-sized, reproduce rapidly and abundantly. I think long-tailed rabbit is very suitable for breeding." Jiao also took out a dried long-tailed rabbit skin to show Jiang Xuan. "Chief, look at this rabbit skin, much thicker than ordinary rabbit skins. Fur is soft, definitely warm if made into beast hide clothing. Besides, the meat of long-tailed rabbit is tender, tastes good whether grilled or stew." Jiang Xuan observed the plump, long-tailed rabbits in the enclosure. These long-tailed rabbits had long tails, ears shorter than ordinary gray rabbits, otherwise no significant difference from gray rabbits. After listening to Jiao's enthusiastic introduction, Jiang Xuan satisfactorily said, "Not bad. These long-tailed rabbits are indeed very suitable for breeding." Jiang Xuan patted Jiao's shoulder, saying, "Go ahead with your plan for breeding. I support you. If you need more enclosures, I will ask warriors to help you. If encountering any difficulties, also tell me." Jiao rubbed his hands, saying, "Chief, we can solve the enclosure issue ourselves, but things like vegetable leaves, vines, and roots, can the planning team give us more? Gonsong is too stingy, even reluctant about rotten vegetable leaves." Jiang Xuan laughed upon hearing this. No problem. I'll ask the planting team for you. Also, don't blame Gonsong. He invested so much time in those crops. No wonder he's protective." Jiao immediately beamed with joy, saying, "Thank you, Chief. I'll deliver a long-tailed rabbit to you later." Jiang Xuan smiled. "Good, I'll also taste the long-tailed rabbit meat you raised, see how it differs from those in the mountains." Jiang Xuan checked other domesticated animals, feeling they were well-bred. Jiao, indeed, seemed to have a certain talent in breeding. Afterward, Jiang Xuan went to Gonsong and asked him to provide more support to the breeding team, so they could get more manure later. Sure enough, when Gonsong heard the word manure, his eyes immediately lit up, promising promptly to give the breeding team more rotten vegetable leaves next time.